Hello, friends, and welcome to Strangers in the Night, your source for late night VR gaming talk. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends Eric and Ruuts. Eric, how you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I love it, man. Sunday in the night, strangers in the Sunday, and strangers in the morning.
Saturday.
Strangers and eggs.
It's Saturday
like
night, you son of a bitch. Don't take away my Saturday night. I still got 43 minutes left. I'm going to enjoy it.
It's true, but you know what it is too, though? I fucking function way better at this time of night than I do pretty much any other time of night.
Yup, 100%. This is when I'm in my prime hours. I get my most work done between 1 and 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel you there.
Vampires.
Ruuts, you are sounding lovely today. I will point out that I have made the jump from my $150 Sony headphones to my $10 Sony headphones that not only sound great, but they're much more comfortable.
Oh, wow. How amazing is that? It's like, who were those, that headset? Whose head was it made for?
Yeah, I don't know. Loopers, apparently.
Yeah, well, or it could be, I guess it is a Japanese headset, right? And they've got smaller heads typically, right? Am I wrong? Is that wrong to say?
I think
know.
that is racist.
Completely racist.
I guess I don't know. It's not meant to be racist, but I guess some people probably just said, "Oh fuck, man, this guy's racist too." I love Japanese, and Japan in general. That's one of the few places that I would love to go visit. I'd love to. I love
all those.
I like the culture.
All those people. I just love them.
I just love people in general.
Well, who doesn't? People are awesome.
You know who loves loads of people?
My mom.
Who loves loads from people?
My mom. Big ones.
It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 a.m. We can do that shit.
Well, it's not. It's 11:15. It's still PG.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
Colorado.
See,
what if you're in the
Pacific?
What if you're in California? It's 10 p.m. Man, that's crazy. Well, I guess it's still good. So.
That is true. This is the kind of magic hour, right? Because we're on at 10 p.m. West Coast, which is pretty cool. It's Saturday night, so this is prime time on West Coast. It's getting a bit late on the East Coast, but there are lots of us vampires out here on the East Coast, and then in Europe, people are waking up. It's 6 a.m. over there. I would imagine that our friends PD and GT will probably be popping in here pretty soon to say hello.
Think they're eating their kicks? The cereal.
Oh,
Kicks,
right?
Kicks. Yeah, Kicks, right?
I love Kicks. Yeah. Radio Run loves Kicks.
Oh, Radio Run. Who doesn't love Radio Run? And Kicks.
I heard they taste better when you close your eyes.
Probably. I think it's pretty bland cereal unless you add some sugar. But
it's completely bland. It is terrible. It's like eating Rice Krispies. Just Rice Krispies.
Yeah, without the sugar and all the cool corn syrup and shit.
Yeah, all the cool corn syrup. Yeah, it's banned in the UK. They don't allow them to drink or eat corn syrup.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Duggars K is talking about people that haven't slept yet. That's me, dude. I've been up for a long time. I feel pretty good right now. I don't know how it's going to be in 2 hours from now, but right now I feel pretty good. I'm a little slap happy though. So when I see Radio Rat in the chat saying, "Don't close your eyes," that's funnier to me than it should be.
Yeah, probably. Well, I'll tell you what. He's he's in Zenith again. He said, "Oh,
really?
Nice. Technoglitch."
What would bring you into there?
I think his son-in-law. I was telling him he should go back into World of Warcraft.
I watched a trailer for Zenith yesterday. It looked pretty good, man. We haven't been in it since, I think they've done 3 major updates to it since we've been in it. And it looked like it literally looked like a different game.
Well, this is the thing. I thought the game original trailer looked cool. And I thought the game in general, when we were in there, looked cool. My problem was no end game. So I can't imagine in 3 expansions or 3 updates they've added what I would want out of it. But I mean, it would definitely, it's it's coming along from what I hear, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty cool, especially when you consider, that it is a free to play now, which is a big difference from the $30 price tag it had when we were playing it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looked interesting.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy that it's free to play now. I mean, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, free to play. I mean, you kind of have to be, right? Like when you're an MMO and people just quit playing,
Yeah.
you kind of have to go do something, man. Have a fire fucking sale really quick.
Everybody goes free to
Try
play.
to get
like,
people.
Well, and people don't they don't think about that aspect when they talk about World of Warcraft either. A lot of people will throw shade just because it's not their type of game. But imagine a game that charges $15 subscription per month to play the game for 20 years and still today is charging $15 a month. Now, granted, there's all sorts of different versions of the game that you can play, but they actually use the money and they upkeep it and they add to it, and the game has continued to be the best MMORPG that exists out there, right? And so, like, that's why I throw shade to Zenith. It's not against Zenith. It's just my personal taste of what I would want. And you, Wes, you know as much as I do just from going into World of Warcraft, just the scope, and you've only seen a small fucking sliver of what's there. And then I look to Zenith, and it's like, it's just that not even close to what that game is, but it shouldn't be. It hasn't had 20 years of development, and it didn't have millions of dollars thrown behind it. When World of Warcraft came out, it was coming out after two very successful Blizzard games that funded it, and they had a lot of money to throw into it. So
I think they're spending it on hardcore drugs.
well, they probably should be these days.
They should. Everybody should be.
Yeah, just
I mean, they're still charging 2 decades later. They're still charging monthly for this game. That's just rude.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's just a testament to how good the game is.
What kind of a car do you think you could have bought with the money you've sunken into Warcraft, Ruuts?
Oh God. Well, I mean, we could go down that road for a lot of things, but I don't know, probably a good one.
That's true. I could have bought a Rolls Royce with the money I spent on hardcore drugs.
Yes.
Sweet.
In college.
Could have the amount of money I spent on headsets. I could have bought, I don't know how many, lots of drugs, and I could do them in the car.
You could do both.
That's true.
You could pull a Johnny Depp.
Nice.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to Strangers in the Night. What is this? A third or fourth Saturday in a row now, Ruuts? I think it's the third, right?
Yeah, we did it. We're doing it anyway. Yeah.
Although we did kind of throw it together last minute. We were going to do Grand Theft Auto 5 on tonight's episode, but honestly, none of us had a chance to even like boot the fucking game until this morning, and we're like, what are we going to play? Even if we play it all day, it's still not enough for a game like that, right? You need a week at least in that game before you can talk about it. So we decided to kind of put that off and just go back to the drawing board and see what kind of a show we could put together in a day. So today's going to be kind of a throwback episode. I mean, we're going to kick off with something pretty cool here. We're going to talk about some Unreal Engine VR and a fairly new release for that. But from there, we're going back in time, friends, as we revisit an old favorite just to see kind of how it holds up today. Crashland was a Quest 1 exclusive, and it was a game that was primarily developed as an Oculus Rift DK1 game, but never got full release until Oculus Quest 1.
I think it came out on the Gear first.
It did. Yeah, the Gear.
Oh,
VR.
did it?
Yeah.
Coming on Gear. Okay. Well,
So I mean, he's brought it all along this whole time. Upgraded it to each iteration. So
yeah, and I remembered seeing that it had gotten some kind of a patch just a couple of months ago. I think it's got some new enemies and stuff in the late game, maybe a new environment. But we use that as an excuse to revisit it and just see how it holds up. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little while as well. And then we're going to go back to an old favorite as we take a look at Viveport and some of the awesome games that are available on there. And let me tell you guys, you're going to be surprised. People haven't been paying attention to Viveport since we stopped talking about it about a year ago, and we've had some pretty good stuff get added on under the radar. So,
Do you
I
think
that's
most
gonna
people
be
now are like, "What the fuck is Viveport?"
I think some
Yeah,
people are.
Like,
a lot of,
like if we
a lot of people are.
if we stop talking about Viveport, there ain't nobody else talking about Viveport besides us. Like, you guys really started like doing the Vive. I remember like you used to have the Viveport like update, like and just any new games that came into Viveport. I mean, the like I would say you guys started championing it. I don't think anybody talks about Viveport. Like, I haven't even been in there myself. I didn't even think I had this subscription anymore until I went back in and looked, and I still do have it, so I still support it.
Still the best deal in VR, man.
It
It's
is.
still the best deal in VR. If you have a gaming PC and you don't have a lot of money to spend on VR games, like you should 100% be buying Viveport. Like there's a lot of good games on there, as we're going to talk about later.
A lot of games on there too, Wes, that like this, we talked about anime games and stuff that just are priced so high that you're just like I'm not even gonna try that thing. And like you know what? I'm already doing the segment now. But yeah, Viveport is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with that, as we always have in the past. But right now, I think it's time to talk and say hello to our friends in the chat. Friends such as Radio Runt, who's already talking about some of the classics like Oshiwash and Taco Face.
Taco Face.
Those were the days.
Those are the days, man. They need Oshiwash too.
They did.
Don't forget about Pornuffalo and Space Cats with Lasers.
I saw both in there today when we were looking. I'm like, oh man, that's throwback.
Think about this: PSVR to Oshiwash because of the adaptive triggers, and you know what I mean. Like dude, your fingers, you're like, oh man, you're gonna feel some sensations, some real.
Think about this
in your hand.
PSVR 2 Space Cats with Lasers gets ported in, and it becomes Game Cats with Lasers.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
That has to happen.
Well, I'm sure we could buy that IP up for $49.99
pretty cheap.
if we want.
It's actually pretty good. It is. I agree with.
Yeah, it was a fun game actually. It was Yuki before Yuki. Honestly,
correct.
Space Cats with Lasers is Yuki. Only Yuki has a little action figure, and Space Cats with Lasers has a little space cat.
But it's a cat, though, Wes.
That's true.
So it's cool.
I did see some cool stuff on Viveport today, though. Some legitimately cool stuff. But
for real,
we'll talk about that later. Looper is here. He says after the fall is on Viveport, Saints and Sinners 1's on Viveport. Check. That is both correct. There's lots of good games on there. Space Denizen is here. Lesser Logic is here. Old Darth in the house. Chinatown D's here. I'm proud of D Ruuts. Like, not only did she play Madison today and stream it for everyone, she played the fuck out of Madison today. I thought we were going to have to cancel the show because D was just going to fucking play Madison all the way to the end.
6 hours. That's crazy, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But I got to imagine she must have enjoyed it somewhat, or she would have stopped at some point, right? Like, I don't know. I didn't ask her what she thinks about it, but we all know what a great game that is. And it's got to have something. There's got to be something about it if you're going to play and spend half a day in it in VR.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely a creepy game.
How about her headset holding up, too? She was playing on the Quest 3 and the thing never died.
Was it plugged in, or what was it she doing?
It was plugged in, but still, like that's not always a given that it's going to hold up even when it is plugged in.
That's true. That is true.
Tatum's here. What's up, Tatum? Bargosoft is here as well. Philozix in the house. VR SpryGuy. You're around next. Says Eric seems quiet.
I do. I'm turned up to like 170 now.
Now you're pegging it, man. You're right on the red line. I was just thinking though, if Radio Runt, see, he doesn't. Okay, and you can answer this directly. Radio Runt, he doesn't like horror games, right? but he also doesn't like spiders. So if he had to play one, Madison VR or Crashland VR, because Crashland, there's spiders and they're legit spiders jumping in your face. And like, I would be interested to know, like, if you had to do one, and I know your default would be neither, but if you had to do one, you had to, or somebody you love was going to die. I won't. Yeah, I'm not going to solidify it because that's creepy. But yeah, I'm curious.
He'd go for Madison. There's 25-foot tall spiders in Crashland.
That's true.
And they're not just regular spiders either. They're like parasite spiders that suck the life out of you.
And they got the Screecher, the one that screams and then comes running at you. Ah, man, that's good.
You know who else likes to suck the life out of you?
You know who loves the Screecher?
And happy Mother's Day to my mom or your mom.
Oh yeah.
Happy Mom's Day. That's right.
That's true. It's her day.
It's her day.
Mal is here. Jade the Foveator Render Game Cat is here. JH is here. Mickey Barrios. What up, Mickey? Salvador's here. Let's see who else. Quadzilla is here. So Joba is here. Gabriel 004 Four Wheelin is here. Evan Yabu is here. Salvador, what's up, my friend? Who else? Duggars K is here, so we can start. Awesome. Roy Schwartz is here. Let's see who else is here. Brondo's here.
Joshua Taylor says he thinks he's here. I think you're here too.
Probably.
You could be a bot though.
That Dank Cheese is here. RoTR is here. Ryan Brandon VR is here. And Don is not here.
Don's here?
Oh man, I'm waiting for Don. He's coming. You know, he's there. He's just afraid. He's like, dude, I'm afraid. He's afraid Alex VR might come and call him out again, like Alex did that one time. Remember MASH?
Would.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. He was, how dare he bring that out? Like,
it's crazy, Alex. Why would you do that?
Hang out, watch the show.
Had a few people slip in. People like 12 the Backlog, Game Cat, AW, Ray Delator, Josh Taylor, we just mentioned, is here.
Some of my favorite people.
I saw someone else. Yeah.
Lesser Logic says he was tripping on shrooms earlier, and he said he's loving my background. So
that is tripping on shrooms. Q2CVR Gamer was in here talking all kinds of shit.
I know, that dick, man. He was saying we need to get started. They're always late.
And with their trashy show, I mean, coming in here and talking shit.
I think he better delete that message. It sounds like hate speech to me.
Oh, yeah.
You canceled him.
Well, what doesn't get you canceled these days?
Left Control Gaming is here. What's up, Left Control Gaming? Thanks for joining us. I think that's everyone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you for staying up late or getting up early. However it
or watching on the
sun
replay
is where you're at. Have you guys been able to catch any of the Aurora Borealis?
I have not. I have not gone out. You know, just as much as I didn't go out and check out the eclipse, but I think it's cool that we can see it. I think it's kind of crazy too that the sun's like on extra crazy mode or whatever.
Yeah.
It's doing some weird shit. You know, like people should be don't be scared, but like be curiously cautious because you know they're Carrington events and there are things that could happen.
Maybe just make sure you know where your flashlight's at.
Yes.
Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
Oh
shit.
Know
Where
your
is my
candles are
flashlight?
at. Know where your flashlight's at.
Know where your children are.
Keep your phone charged. Like keep all your devices charged.
Yeah, you should always have
every Bobo you have. Charge it.
Yeah, keep them all.
Can you imagine if the power grid fried, like completely fried, and we were without power for like a year? Can you imagine how much a fully charged MetaQuest 3 with the 50 games on it would be worth in a year from now?
How long it could last?
That'd be a luxury item, right?
Yeah, if you could survive that long. You know, the average person would just sit for like, I think they say 3 days before they realize something's wrong. Like, no one's coming. Fuck.
Yeah, right. Right.
Crazy.
That's why we're above average, Roots. We ain't sitting still.
No.
Get my shit. Gonna fortify, motherfucker.
Well, I'll tell
Let
you
me get
what.
it.
If the power goes out and my phone is out as well as everything that is supposed to still be running, yeah, there's something more than the power outage. And I don't know. You might see like paratroopers coming in if it's Red Dawn. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Red
just saying.
Dawn. What a great
That was a good movie.
Cool.
Yeah, but I liked both versions, by the way.
Real, I never saw the second one.
The second one was good.
Remake, the remake.
It was good. It was very close, true to form, I believe.
How can you do better than Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen and was it Anthony Michael Hall?
No, I don't think was he in that one. I don't think so.
I thought he was.
Maybe.
I'll tell you how you could be watching Uncommon Valor and have Patrick Swayze and Gene Hackman and Randall Tex Cobb. Hello.
Yeah, very true.
Uncommon Valor, that's a throwback too. Good one.
It's a classic movie.
Yeah, remember when movies were good?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Barely, vaguely.
Don't
Mickey Barrios in chat doing Mickey Barrios shit, dropping keys already down the rabbit hole.
What a great game.
You know who loves it
not
when
to
you
be
go down the rabbit hole?
My mom. I was going to say not to be confused with Up the Rabbit Hole, which is a totally different game. Down the Rabbit Hole is actually pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be something that'd be cool to check out. Go back and revisit. I've been in there for a long time. Was it 2.5?
Yeah, something like that.
That's
It's
cool.
been a while. Anyway, why don't we get right into it and talk about the first item on tonight's agenda, and that is Soulslinger Envoy of Death. We played this game in Unreal Engine VR mod because it is an Unreal Engine release that came out, I think, last month, maybe 6 weeks ago. A game that I was completely unaware of, but since we have decided to push back my choice, which is Grand Theft Auto 5 VR, and Ruuts' choice, which is Red Dead VR for the same reason, Eric got to pick 2 times in a row, and Eric really has been digging on this game. It said you've been playing this like 26 hours, Eric. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I know. I got some time in, man. I got some time in this game in a time where it's tough to get in and do any gaming. But yeah, I love this game. It's super good. It's got a great gameplay loop. I've played it flat, but man, it's pretty good in VR.
So I've got some questions for you about how you played this in VR, because I had some difficulties getting this thing up and running. I tried to run it on my G2. It gives you I didn't tweak it a lot. Like, I could have probably taken some time to try to dial it in and try some different settings to get it running more smoothly. But I gave up on that pretty much straight away and switched over to Airlink on my Quest 3. And I did go get some new controllers today for my Quest 3. I went to the Walmart and did the old swapperoo. So I didn't have to put up with all the Oculus bullshit and go through their whole deal. But it came up pretty easily in Airlink after I got through my problems, which I did have problems. So I opened up Airlink and I opened up Steam VR, run the game, hit the button to inject UEVR into it, and the game crashes. Not only does it crash, but now in Steam it's telling me that the game has a missing file. The UEVR completely locked up on me. I had to like go into my task manager to kill it, and it broke it. Like, even after deleting it, uninstalling it, reinstalling it, the reinstall failed. And this is like a 20 gigabyte game. It didn't, it is not an instant download. Eventually, I ended up deleting all the local files and everything for it, and then installing on another drive. and finally got it to run in VR. But the last time I did it, I ran it as DirectX 11. Does that make a difference? Is my first question for you, Eric. Do you run it in DirectX 11 or do you run it on the base setting?
So I run on the base setting, but I think I know what's going on here because I had a feeling that so Dee tried this too, and she had all kinds of problems with memory. It was I can't remember the error was something about not enough memory or something like that to run the game, or memory loss, or packet loss or something like that. And then she had to do a fix to figure it out. And I think it. Are you running on Windows 11?
No, I'm running on 10.
Okay, well that
her problem was actually related to the 14900K and the instability with the motherboards and how they're like too much wattage or using too much wattage. Because I actually helped her fix it because I did the same thing, just having to like set it to stock settings to 253 watts or whatever. It won't go over that, and that fixed the stability for her in that game. So whatever issue she was having, that's what was going on.
Yeah, so now
This
I'm
is a
confused.
problem.
I thought that was the thing. I really thought it was a Windows 11 thing because I literally had none of those issues. Like I had none of the memory error issues.
Me either.
And I didn't have any of the issues you had. I'm not running a 14. I'm running a 13.9.
Well, 13900K and 14900K both have the same problem. They were both saying.
So yeah, weird. I didn't have that issue at all, and I'm only running a 3080 Ti, where I think D's running a 4070 or 4080.
4080.
4080.
4080.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time I've seen this problem. I have the exact identical issues with VR chat, surprisingly enough. And it's almost every time that I run VR chat, I have to completely delete everything and then install it on a different drive to get it to work. I don't know what the issue is, but that's neither here nor there. I did eventually get this thing running. It looks really good in the headset. I did have a bit of what I would call compression, visible compression, but it wasn't like anything that was like it didn't break the game for me or anything. It was just noticeable, right? Like it wasn't as crisp as it would have been had I been able to get it up and running in my G2. One more question for you, Eric, and then I'm gonna kind of go to Ruuts and see what he's thinking about this game. Do you run this with just stock settings in UEVR, or do you load up some kind of a profile when you play it?
I only ran stock settings. There are some new profiles, even just recently, that were put in that you can use to help it. It definitely helps with some of the if you're going to use touch controllers, it helps to use it that way instead of a gamepad now. It does help with some of the visuals, from what I heard through Elliot, and you can go to Flat to VR, the Discord, and you can get some different profile settings for it now. Where it will help you a little bit with the controls. But for me, I enjoyed it with the gamepad, so I kind of didn't even decide to go back. And I thought it ran pretty good. I never had any issues. Dee said it made her a little bit sick. I think maybe that's just because of the way the movement and the game is. But I had
fast.
I had good frames. Yeah, it is. No, it's super fast. But I don't know about you, Ruuts. You're running a pretty damn good rig. I'm only running the 4080 Ti with a 13.9. And I was holding frames. I didn't drop frames in any way. When I first booted it up, I had some shader issues, I think, but they went away after I think the first boot through, and then I didn't have any issues after that. But I was using a gamepad, not touch controller, so I don't know what you guys were doing.
Yeah, so I played with gamepad, and that's typically what I like to do with UEVR. Is I just like to get in the game, boot right into it, and play it how it's meant to be played most of the time. Now there are exceptions, as always, and I think that in the long run, if I continue to play this game, this might end up being one of those exceptions. But before I get to why that is, Ruuts. One, how did you play this game? And 2, what did you think about it?
I played it with Link, and I turned off the. I kind of felt a little bit weird in the beginning too when I first started, and I said there's a setting on here that's not right, that shouldn't be here, and I noticed motion blur was on, which should never be on for VR. So I turned that and the chromatic aberration off or whatever. Turn those two off.
I should have turned that off.
I did turn motion blur off too. I forgot to mention that. I did turn motion blur off.
Yeah, because it just, and once I did that, it didn't feel weird. I didn't feel it weird anymore. So I would try doing that and see if maybe that makes a difference. But I didn't feel like there was any problems. But I did notice what Wes was saying as far as compression, or maybe it was because I wasn't doing wirelessly, but like aliasing. I even went into the anti-aliasing at some point in here in the menu, and it might even be soon, and was trying to figure out if I could tweak to that to actually make it look sharper, because it looked kind of funky, in some ways. But other than that, I thought the gameplay was good. My only thing is I don't like, there's so many similarities with Hades, which I love. Hades is so cool. And I can see that they've obviously took inspiration as far as just the different selections of different ways you can go, and the gem system, but they made it their own. For me, I feel like the gameplay, same thing that I said about Returnal being in first person, I would say about this thing. And this isn't even nearly, at least for what I've played, nearly as crazy as Returnal. It's just in first person, trying to shoot this gun and then trying to figure out where all these things are coming and teleporting around, and it just feels like too much to me. Like Hades flows, and I haven't played enough of this. I haven't played 26 hours, and maybe I'll feel differently, but Hades flows in a way that, like, this, I didn't feel like this did. Although I did feel like the story here was really intriguing. So, but anyway.
When you get farther in, it gets super smooth. Like you start to feel like a true badass. So, and it does. This is not an easy game. This is another one of those hard games. So I know exactly what you're saying. I had to push through a little bit, but I like that part of it, like the challenge. And then once I you get over that little bit of hump that I think you're talking about, where the gameplay is like, okay, I'm just getting my ass kicked constantly here, and then it just kind of clicks. And even the aiming routes, like I think eventually when they do aim down sights, it'll be way better for VR.
That's my problem with it. That was my big problem with it. Like, I don't think first person is a problem with it here at all. And despite the issues that I had with it visually, I thought it was a pretty good looking game, better looking than a lot of native VR games. It's got really good progression. I mean, it's a solid, like, roguelike structure, which I'm like everyone else. I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of roguelites, but if you have a good one, they're still good. And I feel like this probably is going to turn out to be a pretty good one. My issue with this game playing in VR, though, is 100% with the aiming. They give you a reticle. It's not accurate. Like the thing shoots pretty far off from where the reticle's at. And then if you hit the aim button to actually aim the thing, the reticle goes away, and it literally brings the gun right up into your field of view, but it isn't where you're looking down the sights, but literally the butt of the gun is at your eye level. So I found it pretty impossible to aim the thing. Basically, I was using a revolver like a shotgun and just running up to the enemies and shooting them point blank, because that was really the only way I could play it. So that was kind of the reason for my initial question, Eric, is have you tried this with a profile? Because I think that this could be a really good game if we have one of the UEVR experts go in and really dial it in and set that. I mean, gaze-based aiming would be great. Like, if they could just give us that, I wouldn't even need to aim down the sights. But if at least, if nothing else, I feel like they should at least adjust where the gun is and get that reticle dialed in, get that gun a little bit lower down in the field of view and get that reticle dialed in. And I think this would be a really good game.
Yeah, so you can change the reticle. You can adjust where it is because it is off automatically because of the way it is in VR. It's off just a little bit, and you can change it. The aim down sight, it's not good flat either, Wes. So it's just I never aim down sight when I'm playing this game. It's too fast to do that anyway, and you're actually pretty accurate not, and then just firing it from the hip, even from long range. So aim down sights for me, even flat, it's not even a viable option with the game. I think it's not meant for that. Like, and again, I think once you can aim down sight with this thing, then it changes. So, and I know they're working on doing a profile that will allow you to do that. But yeah, you can change the reticle so you do aim where you, because it is for some reason just off a hair. And when I first started, before I figured it out, I just kind of like figured it out. Like I figured out where I should be aiming, and I just kind of went through it and got through it on my own. And then once Elliot told me how do I change it, then I just changed it and I was fine. But yeah, I mean,
this is the type of experience I need with UEVR. Like, I need to watch a good tutorial, and I know Alex has done quite a few of them. Waifu Enjoyer, check that channel out if this is something that you're interested in. I just haven't taken the time to learn how to adjust these things for myself yet.
Yeah, it's and certain games like, and I think Ruuts is right. Like, I would love a third person in this game. I don't think that will ever happen because there's no way to do it in the base game. But I mean, I think, like I said, once you're able to aim down sights, I think you'll get that feel, Ruuts, of having like being in Returnal, and you'll have a easier time aiming. But again, literally, this is one of those games where it just takes some time. Like, it literally takes time, and you have to get over that little bit of hump. Like all these things that you guys are dealing with, I learned in the first like 10 to 12 hours of playing, and then leveling. Like these games are supposed to be hard, and it's supposed to take you time. It's not supposed to be like your first weapons are not supposed to be the most accurate weapons. You get more accurate weapons later as you go. You get another revolver later that is, has more shots. It's not as powerful, but it's way more accurate. More accurate at long range, that will help you kind of like get through those things. So I think that there's some of the issues you're having are just with the game itself as being a roguelite and being, you have to kind of suck early on before you can really get good. And then I think there's just some issues of making it in VR, and that you have to like adjust. And I think with a little bit of time, it'll be done better. And all the modders know what they're doing with this stuff, so I'm sure there'll be a good profile soon. There's already fixes in there already now, so I just want aim down sights. That's the only thing I really want in this game more than what's there now.
I think I would prefer having what Wes said, having the head based aiming.
Yeah.
I love that in these games that are already made. They're not made for VR, because a lot of times, or most of the time, when they've put a gun in my hand in this UEVR, it doesn't feel as natural to me as it should. And maybe I haven't tried all the profiles. That's another thing. A couple times I've tried profiles. It's not the easiest thing to do. Is there like, not that it's the hardest thing, but like I'm trying to think of a way that it could be built into the mod that would be something that would, I don't know, a little bit easier to do than the way that it's done. I don't even remember how you do it now. So
Yeah, I don't think it's all that difficult. I think you just load it in, and it pretty much takes care of everything.
Oh, that's right. You got to put it in the folder, right? And then you just
right.
start it up.
It would be cool if they had it like if they're able to upload the folders into the UEVR, app, or however you want to call it, and to where it was just right there, almost like you get the, like in Reshade, how you
like
can have different
Vorpax
profiles or Vorpax,
right?
You just have them right there. I think probably you'll see it at some point.
That's what I would think would be the best, actually. Yeah, you're right. So I don't know. I think the game, I know it's in early access. It just came out last month, right? So, or a couple months ago. It hasn't been out that long.
Yeah, less than 2 months. Here's the cool thing about it, right? So this game, it only retails for $18 right now on Steam. it's on sale right now on Fanatical for $12.
Yeah.
So I picked a copy of it up today for less than $15, and it's pretty sweet.
And if you're curious to know before you buy it whether it'll work on your rig or not, there's a free demo on Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
There
you
you
can
go.
get it there and try it, see how it performs, and then if it plays well, you can buy it.
Yeah, and be sure you give it your due diligence. Try it both in base settings and DirectX 11. Try it both in OpenVR and OpenXR. I think I probably could have ran it on my G2 if I had switched from OpenXR to OpenVR. I didn't do it, or vice versa.
I think
Yeah, I wonder if you would have the same if you would have started with those problems if you just ran an XR or even with your G2, because I think you're right. This thing would look awesome in your G2.
Yeah, and I've played games that you would think would be more demanding than this in UEVR with my G2, and they work just fine. So
it depends on how optimized it is. It just came out and it's early access, so it may not be.
That's true.
That's the thing too. This game is really well done and super polished, I think, and still listed as early access. Like, it literally just came out in December. And man, I mean, the devs are working on it. They're updating it. They that's how I originally found this game. They sent me a key because they were curious to know if there's ever a VR version that could be possible, and so I wanted to test it to see, and if it was, and that's how I found this game. Otherwise, I don't the flat games are not on my radar, so that's the only way I found this game. So to have it this polished and be still in early access, I thought was pretty good.
Hey, Santa Claus also came out in December.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He did.
People in the chat, Oldar says this reminds me of Hellsweeper. It is at least in the early levels that I played, very similar to Hellsweeper. I would give Hellsweeper a little bit of an edge in terms of versatility and gameplay. Again, early on, it may change later.
Did you get the double jump?
This is all about unlocking different
no,
weapons and abilities,
Right.
and as you go along. I don't even know what this little
Hellsweeper does that
power
too. Yeah,
totem
Hellsweeper,
is.
Yeah, Hellsweeper does a very similar thing. But Hellsweeper's areas aren't as big as this game's areas are. Like the levels and world that you're kind of working through here is much bigger than the one in Hellsweeper, which is something that I really enjoy about it, and really is one of the only things I can criticize Hellsweeper on is it's kind of like arena based, where this is more of like an open. Well, I wouldn't call it an open world, but it has levels that you can play through.
Yeah, I didn't play DirectX 11. I was going to say that earlier, and yeah, there was something else I was going to say. It'll come back to me.
Is it something about gay Santa Claus?
Yeah, it may have been. It's now on my mind.
Coming out in December.
Yeah, he came out in December, man.
I was gonna say I think it is a lot of like Hellsweeper, and it's the different things maneuvers you can get. Like, it's mainly a dash game. You know what I mean? Like Returnal, where you have a dash to kind of move, but you can get a jump. You can get a double jump. So you can actually switch in game if you find that perk from a jump, and then you can upgrade it to a double jump, and that changes the entire way you play the game, because now you can play from heights, where you kind of can before with the dash if you get good at the dash, but not quite. Like with the double jump, it becomes way more aerial than the game does in the original, and that's the things that kind of blew me away. Like, I didn't even know that until I was like probably 5 or 6 hours in the game, and I just happened to get into a run where I had gotten a different power up that I have never gotten before. And then you have different abilities, or you have different gems that you're able to unlock, and there's like a fire, there's like a fire perk and a poison perk and electric. And then like a soul one, shadow one, right? Later in the game, you have to beat the first boss. I didn't realize, and it takes a long time to beat the first boss because this is not an easy game. You get another one which is called a blood perk.
Spoiler.
And you open up a whole different perk line Like, and this is something that you don't even discover till later in the game. It took me probably 10 hours to even get into that, where all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I opened up a whole new perk tree with all these different perks that I'm able to get. And now once you open it, they're available to you from the beginning of the run now. So things change every time you play now. So that's why, like, I know people are getting sick of the roguelites, but these are the types of things that a good roguelite does to continue to surprise you during the game, so it doesn't get repetitive or boring. The ones that do it right, like Hades.
Have you tried? Did you try to do any of the like the graveyard levels or like the? Okay, again, I don't know how far west, far you went into, but there's like
Not
these
very.
special levels, and they're like they're called the graveyard levels, and it warns you. It says, you know, hey, these are, you know, a crazy levels. You get more, more rewards or whatever. And I'll tell you, dude, like of course, I went in early. I didn't last more than like
You won't.
10 seconds, dude. Like there was fucking things flying around shooting fireballs at me, and I was like, and of course you're not doing any damage. So between that and there was something else that I did pretty similarly to that, to where I just was like, I shouldn't be doing this yet. I'm not at the level.
Did you go to the boss? Because that's what's nice. One of the things that's
I got
nice about this
to the
too, is
one
you can
right
choose
before the
when you go.
boss.
You can choose when you go to the boss, like, because you have every time you go into a level and you beat the level, doorways open up to allow you to move.
Can you go
forward.
backwards or no?
Well, you can't. No, you can't go backwards, but you can choose. Like, you can choose when you go to the boss. So if you don't feel you're strong enough, just don't choose the boss door. It's almost like Returnal, right? Like when you have that boss door that you in Returnal that you're ready to go to, but you're like, I'm not ready to go there yet. I need to go and find some other stuff. Get a better weapon or whatever. Same thing here. Like you get that. I think it's like 5 rooms in, and you can unlock going to the boss if you choose to, which will help you later when you're strong, and you're like, when you're super strong, you're just like, okay, I'm ready to go to the boss and just get through it so I can get to the next area. But in the beginning, you can just go to a different doorway and then keep leveling yourself up in the run, and then you go through and go to the boss. And that's one of the things I didn't even know earlier. Like, I was going to the boss right away, and I'm like, man, I'm getting my ass kicked. And then I just realized that I just don't keep going to the boss, go to look for more weapons. And then it's a juggle too. Like, there are things that you get here that will help you level up your character overall, not just in the run. And then, you have to choose, do I take this doorway to help me on this current run, or do I take this other doorway that's going to give me something that's going to allow me to, in between rounds, make me way more stronger permanently? And then you have to weigh those things. I found myself, down to like half health, and I'm like, I'm not going towards any more new abilities for this round. I'm going to go towards XP and some of the gems, so I can the water droplets, so I can level up in between rounds more. So and that, again, another good roguelite thing is decision making, how you go on each run. It's a process, and this one's done really well.
It's very, 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 very similar to Hades. The whole everything, the different doorways, the gems, the systems, they've made it their own. But you can clearly tell that it's like, once you're running around there, like, oh, okay, I know how this is all laid out. This is just like Hades. Although I would say that the story, even though this one's really compelling, I feel like Hades that was the best part of the game, was just how well the story, just everything about that game. I got to play the sequel because the first one was so good. But I think you nailed it, Wes. My biggest problem with this game, and the modders can fix it, is the awkwardness of trying to shoot this gun. Because Mash is right. I did several runs after I played it in VR flat just to see, the differences, because Dee was saying she preferred to play it flat mainly because it didn't make her feel weird. And I did feel like the shooting just felt weird, clunky. And I've seen some people say that.
I had some issues with menu navigation too.
Yes.
Like when I would go to a workbench or to that well of tears or whatever, the D-pad and the sticks wouldn't work most of the time. Every now and then they would they would activate and move around a little bit, but I still was never able to like select the items that if I was lucky enough to actually get it to highlight something, it still wouldn't let me hit A and select it. So literally, whenever I was going to upgrade,
Mouse.
I would have to use my mouse to do it
It's
every time.
because the cursor, for whatever reason, at least from what I was seeing, is not limiting itself to your game. It's going all over. It's going to other monitors. It's, you know what I mean? It's
That son of a bitch! It's
Yeah.
my
This-
cursor. It's supposed to
exactly.
go
This
where
is
I
my fault.
want it.
So
this
like
is my fault too. I should have told you guys. You have to adjust the mouse speed and sensitivity in the menu.
well, I did adjust the mouse sensitivity about 3/4 of the way playing, because I was like, man, I am just fucking it. It was very difficult to control what's happening, and it was a lot better once I did that as well. So
Yeah, if you adjust the mouse sensitivity and also the joystick sensitivity in the menu, that will help, and you'll a lot of those things you had, Wes, will go away. And that's just my fault. I completely forgot about that. Again, gotta remember I'm like almost 30 hours into this thing, so a lot of these issues I had a long time ago, so I
Right.
didn't even think about telling you guys those things. But yeah, it because it's a shooter that's either meant to be played by mouse and keyboard, or you can use gamepad, but you have to adjust things for gamepad. It's really meant to be used mouse and keyboard. Although I've never even played it that way. I wouldn't
That's
even
how-
think about it.
that's how Deep said she played it, and she really enjoyed it. Mouse keyboard. So
It didn't bother me that much because again, it was only during interactions with the UI, like when I'm at a workbench or something like that. It wasn't during the game that I had any of these issues. And whenever I play these gamepad style games, I always sit in my desk chair right up against my desk anyway, because I use a wired gamepad. So like literally my mouse was right there. The only thing that really annoyed me about it was like I can't see the cursor in the headset, so I would have to like lift it up and look at my monitor to
how
do it.
weird was that? It's like, where's the cursor? It's here. You can't see it in the game. I thought that was a little weird too, but I guess they don't want you to see the cursor, right? So
Good morning, Gamertag VR, joining us.
up?
Good to see you. Durbin Brown joining us as well. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Gamertag VR says Outer Worlds has a true VR mod. We almost did Outer Worlds tonight instead of this. Like I thought about it, and I probably if
More
I was
time.
going to be forced to choose, I probably would have chosen that one because honestly, what I wanted to play was Visage, but I thought, for your sake, I would give you guys a little bit of a break on the uber dark horror stuff and wait a few weeks before we try to tackle Visage. From what I understand, it has some cursor issues in it as well. But luckily for us, that's not a shooter. It's a game like Madison. So, anyways, this game has promise. Obviously, Eric thinks it has more than promise. He's a big fan of the game already. He's about 30 hours into it. Me, less than a couple hours into it. I think it has promise. Ruuts, what do you think about this game at $12 right now?
I think it's definitely worth $12. I think it's worth the price that it's at in general. I just hope that, and if the devs are out there, even flat, you need to fix the way that the gun just feels weird. The aiming, like Eric said, there's no reason to aim down the sight. It just feels, at least especially in VR, it's just way too close to your face. But I mean, that's not your fault. You didn't make it for VR, but in general, it just feels like I could be a lot better, feel a lot better. I love the story and the loop, the gameplay loop, and everything that is there as far as that goes. It's just, if I could feel like the guns were a little bit more on point, and it could be also the aiming, the reticle as far as the VR part of it. But yeah, it's definitely a good game, and especially for that price.
Yeah, it gets better too, Wes. Like I don't think he probably even opened up the second gun, which is the shotgun, it's a 2-shot shotgun. You know, like a sawed-off shotgun, almost like it looks like a revolver, but it's a shotgun. And there's no need to even think about aiming down sights at that point. A lot of what you're doing now is you're kind of like you said you were using it like a shotgun. That's one of the things you open up, and then you can start leveling it as well. Like the base weapon you can't even level. It's just a base weapon. And then you get more weapons. Then you can actually start to level each individual weapon. You know, that will kind of like help you along. And again, I don't even think about aiming down sights even now because I have an upgraded revolver. And then like I said, you get it to where it's you can shoot long distance, just shooting it from the hip. And again, this game, because of the speed, is not meant to be an aim down sight game. So I don't even know why they put it in there. Like I wouldn't, if I was the devs, I wouldn't even have put it in there because it seems like, because what you're saying, Ruuts, it seems clunky because it almost seems like it shouldn't be there. And it almost seems broken. So if they didn't even have it in there, you wouldn't even think about it, and then you wouldn't miss it at all. But because they make it an option, you're like, oh, this feels like shit. But to me, it's like it's almost like an afterthought. You don't use it at all. Maybe when you want to like pinpoint shooting a barrel or something like that, but even then, I don't ever use it. And I've gotten through 2 bosses now, and just don't ever use it.
Anyways, $12 on Fanatical right now for a limited time. So if this is something that you are interested in, check it out while you still can. Hit me up on Discord if you need a link, and I'll be glad to share it with you.
You should try it again, Wes, with the PS5 controllers. From assuming that it translates with if it's connected via cord. GT says on the PS5 the controller haptics are almost addictive.
I think he's talking about a different game. He's talking about Animal Well, whatever that is.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking. I know that this game is also on PS5 as well.
Oh, is this game on PS5?
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
There you go.
And I didn't even try. I should have probably tried a PlayStation 5 controller. I was just using my Xbox controller, but it could be. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am intrigued with it enough to mess around with it a little bit and see if I can get it dialed in. If I can get this running on my G2 and get that gun down out of my field of view a little bit and get the cursor dialed in a little bit, I think that I would have a lot more fun with this game than I did.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me want to play Hades in VR as well because I love Hades. I
want to go play Hellsweeper.
You know what I'm thinking, Ruuts, is I wonder, because I'm thinking, which I don't know yet because I haven't beaten it yet, but I wonder if it's like Hades where you have to like go through several progressions of beating it to get to the final story.
It's possible because, like I said, they've taken so much inspiration with Hades, even to the point that like the whole point of the story is your wife is dead, you know, like whatever happened to her, and you want to bring her back. It's so much so that you've put your soul on the line, right? Or whatever's going on there with death. And so it might
talk about being pussy whipped.
Yeah, what a simp, dude. What are you fucking stuff? But yeah, no, so I thought the story was intriguing. I wouldn't be surprised. That was one of the best things about Hades. I remember streaming Hades and I was like, I beat it. I got through the story and I was like, yes, I beat it. And then someone in my stream was like, yeah, dude, that's just the first time. And like, you know, and then I realized as I went through and the story kept going with all the characters, and I was like, wow, and then the game changed, and like that's why that game was so good. And that's why this game could, you know, because they chose so many similarities and they've done it well. It's good. So
did you imagine? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that myself and Ruuts had a conversation before we started about, you know, games in VR and games flat. And this is one of those things that Ruuts is always talking about of what a game in VR built for VR is and what a game that's built flat can be in VR. Because this is what Foglands should have been. Like this is what everybody wanted out of Foglands. And what we got was a shell of what we wanted. And this game, if this was Foglands, it probably would have been one of the best-selling games.
Right. Yeah, like built from the ground up, the same mechanics, but this with the same progression. And that's the thing. The devs clearly, when they're making a flat game, they're making it to play on a flat monitor, and they're using the same formula that's worked forever. But in VR, they're having to make the game in VR and get the physics right and get all of that shit first, and then they build the game around it, and then they run out of time and they can't go as deep, right? So,
and then half of these motherfuckers are afraid to make a game fast enough.
Correct.
Like these type of games like this need to be quick. You need to be constantly moving around, but most VR game developers don't have the courage to do that because they're afraid that they're going to make people sick. When the truth of the matter is that most flat gamers aren't playing VR anyway. You're selling to VR gamers first, and I think VR studios need to start catering a little bit more to people who play VR games regularly.
Right. Well, and this is my thought. If you have to make a game suck or be less than to make it to where you feel like it's safe, I don't want to play that game. I really don't, because you've probably held it back in about 15 different ways. I just want to play an amazing game that these guys, these developers weren't even thinking about VR, and they did a better VR game than, well, I don't want to say VR game, but a better game than a lot of VR games, just as far as the actual scope and what it is. And it's because they didn't spend most of their budget trying to get the physics down. And so I would submit, if you don't have the money to do as much of I would choose to do a deeper game with gamepad controls personally than to have a shallow game where I can fly, through the environment like Zenith or something. I just, to me, it's apples and oranges. So
Gamertag VR just noticed that we are covering Crashland today, and I think this would be a good opportunity for us to go ahead and move along to our next title, which is the MetaQuest exclusive wave shooter, Crashland. He asked, does it have, or is it getting an update? And I can't really point to it. I know I read somewhere that it recently got an update.
It was within the last few months. I read the same thing.
You saw it as well, right? So it isn't just me. It got something like a new level and a couple new enemies or something added into it, and then some like technical tweaks to it. Not a big update. Certainly nothing noticeable from what I played today, because I went in today and literally started a new game. It has multiple save slots on it, and I didn't want to pick up on level 10 with this game, Ruuts, because as you know, this game is fucking a war hell ride. It's balls to the wall, and you got to work into it, don't you?
Yeah, no, I did the opposite. I started right where I was at, and I was like, the fuck is happening, man? Like, I died so quick, and then I adjusted things. But yeah, no, this game has so much action. What I forgot about this game, Wes, that what they did do so well is, like, some of the levels I was playing today, it's 8 minutes, man. You think, oh, I can survive 8 minutes. The tension of 8 minutes.
Yeah.
The entire time, man, you are moving, you are grooving, you're shooting, things are so many moments you think everything's going good, and then all of a sudden something's attached to your face and other things are getting close. And like the amount of fear that it instills, this game, it does what a lot of games don't do. Like, it just, yeah, you said wave shooter. It doesn't feel like a wave shooter to me, which it is. You have this big arena. You got to survive X amount of time. Each planet's different. Each different planet has different enemies, right? And what's cool is you also have different like things that you unlock, right? and you can change your perks for what's going to come down. Because as you go along, certain things will drop, and now you got this badass bomb or whatever. There's just a lot of different things. I really was impressed, re-impressed with this, if that's a word. Re-impressed with it, yeah.
Yeah, I like that word.
So
Yes.
a couple of things here before we really dive deep on this. So while the game probably did get an update recently, we just used that as an excuse to get in here and see if it still holds up today the way it did when it released for MetaQuest 1 all those years ago. And when I say does it hold up, people need to understand. So there's a whole new audience around now that wasn't in VR when this game came out. So that's kind of the other reason that we decided that we wanted to cover it, because people need to know about this game. And I'm happy to say that it does hold up. And when I say that, what I mean by that is this is probably the best pure wave shooter in VR. I know wave shooters become a bit of a dirty word in recent years, especially when it comes to VR games. But Eric, I don't think I'm exaggerating at all when I say that this is the most compelling. I mean, this one, it's hard. It's fucking hard. But by the time that you get a few rounds under your belt and you start to learn how the progression works, how the perks work, and how you can kind of stack them, and the way that the game's put together, it is just completely addictive. This is a game that you can pick up for 15 minutes or you can play for 3 hours.
Yeah, this is one of those games that we talk about that's just got gameplay loop. It's got a really, really good gameplay loop. And, you know, if you want to call it a wave shooter, you know, it is technically probably a wave shooter, but I don't know, it feels much deeper. It almost feels like a roguelite to me. You know, technically it's not a start to finish thing because you kind of go through levels and you can choose whatever level you want to go into. But literally the way you kind of increase yourself and the way you can kind of find different power-ups in round, it does feel that way. If he brought the whole thing into a cohesive, like you go from one level to the next, like, you know, just move from one to the other automatically, it would be a roguelite.
It would be
instead of a wave shooter.
Farpoint. It would be Farpoint.
Exactly. Yeah, put a story to it. Literally, that would be. It would feel like that. But yeah, I mean, the perk system here is super deep. Like, again, it doesn't feel, because it's not technically a roguelite, it doesn't feel as deep. But when you start to really get into it, like, there are so many different perks, and you're only able to choose so many depending on what level you are. You have to really think about what perks you do, because there are certain levels that you can't get through, I don't think, without certain perks. Like I've tried, and I know you've probably gone even deeper into this, Ruuts. There are certain levels that you are just not going to make it through unless you have the right perks set up on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like 30 perks as well, and they're all very different, and every planet's different. I played one today for the first time, which I know you've done, Wes, because you said you got to level 10. But the one that's got the it's dark and you have the flashlight, and I thought that was cool. There was the jungle one or whatever with the raptors and stuff. So this is a spoiler alert. Like Eric said, there's different levels as far as, you know, you got easy, normal, hard. I think there's even nightmare mode. The spoiler is I went back to easy.
Imagine.
I went back to easy today for the first time. I've never played it on easy mode, which is not easy. But I was actually able to move past a couple levels that I hadn't moved past before, just because I wanted to see stuff. There's actually a casual level if you really just want to fly through the levels and check them all out. But I think it's just the best feeling, the best gunplay. It makes hot dogs, hand grenades, and horseshoes look like shit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the gunplay, but it's definitely it's fun.
So this is a game that has you progressing. The progression is kind of like a roguelike, the way that it's put together. And while it isn't technically a roguelike, a lot of the things that you like about the roguelike gameplay loop is part of this gameplay loop. What I really enjoy about this, like most roguelikes, um, there's two ways to play it. So you have a number of levels that you're trying to make it through. And unlike most VR roguelikes today, that'll put you in a string of like 10 to 15 levels and have you kind of trying to work to make it through that. This is like double that. It's like 25, I think, that you have to work through in this. Um, so you can either play for progression, which is to see how far you can get to unlock more levels and try to make it through it, or you can play for XP, which not only helps you unlock new perks, and there's something like 30 perks that you can unlock, all very different and very creative. Um, no, so if you're playing for XP, not only are you unlocking perks, but you're also playing for the leaderboards at that point. And as you unlock perks, I think you can have up to 5 or 6 of them at a time eventually, and you literally build a loadout to want. You can either make yourself like this badass, kick-ass killing machine, where you're going through and just trying to decimate the enemies and survive the levels, or you can make yourself a little bit more weak, but get bonuses for points and XP. Um, and it's a constant balance. Typically, my loop with this is I play for progression first, and then I come back, I switch up my perks, and then I try to push the leaderboard, and get my XP and then unlock new perks. And it's a completely, like I say that it's different because you set your loadouts different, but Ruuts, you honestly you play different too depending on what your goals are. For example, you kill these enemies and they spit out these power balls, right? And you can absorb those, and it makes your gun much more effective and gives you abilities to really melt these fucking enemies quick. But if you don't absorb them, you can stay at a distance and shoot them, and they act like bombs. So, like, if you're playing for progression, you're going to want to absorb those and take the power into your guns and really melt these enemies down quickly. But if you're playing for points, you want those bombs because it helps you keep your multiplier up. It helps you you explode smaller enemies in groups and really get your multiplier and your points up. Um, so yeah, I just love it. It's so versatile for what is essentially one of the most basic types of games in VR, the wave shooter. It's very versatile. It's very strategic, and at the same time, um, it takes a lot of skill. You have to develop skills, like like any good run and gun shooter. Um, it's just an exceptional game, and you can tell that this is a game that's literally been in development for over a decade at this point, and it still holds up. I feel like with the best in the library.
I'm going to ask the question that everybody is going to ask either now or later. When is this coming to PSVR 2, Wes? Which I don't think it is because it's only been on the Quest.
I wish it would,
Oculus
because
right?
it has such heavy Farpoint vibes to it. Just, I mean, the game's structured very differently, but the aesthetic of the environments and the enemies, it feels like Farpoint. Eric, don't you feel like you're on the planet from Farpoint when you start playing this game?
100%. You definitely get that feel. I mean, the from the enemies to maybe not the weapons, but I mean from the enemies and the way they kind of attack you and run at you, the way you shoot them. I mean, it absolutely feels that way. It feels like it feels like the Farpoint, like, roguelite edition, or the non-story Farpoint, or Farpoint multiplayer, where you're just shooting waves of enemies. That's exactly what this feels like, and it almost, for me, like, I almost just think this deserves a remaster or a remake, or I'd love to see this developer take it, because again, we talked about it earlier. This game was made for the freaking Gear VR. It's not a
Yep.
new game. This is, even though it plays great today. Like if this game didn't exist and it launched today exactly the way it is, it would be probably one of the better games that you'll play on the Quest. But I think it almost, for me, it deserves a remaster. I'd love to see a re-envisioning of this, with maybe some updated graphics, and make it into maybe a campaign, or a true roguelite. And then maybe multiplayer. I talked about that with you guys a little bit earlier. Like, can you imagine how good this would be if you could share perks, or you could share in-game stuff? And it's definitely hard enough to support co-op, to where you don't feel like you're just going to beat the game too easily because you're in co-op. This game could easily support co-op, probably even 3-player. It could support with that difficulty level. So I would love to get a hold of this, Dev, and just say, hey, if you would, I wish you would do something, and either make it a different game or a part 2, and then like completely re-envision it to expound on it or expand on it. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Looper said he thought it was announced for PSVR 2, but he said it wasn't announced, but the dev has just said recently that they hope to bring it there.
Really? I find that very surprising. This developer is not a full-time game developer. Literally, this is just something he works on in his spare time as a hobby.
I think he's a teacher, right, or a professor? Or
yeah, he's a college professor at a pretty high accredited university in the UK. So yeah, like literally, this was kind of a project for him. In a couple of areas of in-game physics, which were way ahead of its time, and in some ways still kind of sets itself apart from other games. I'm talking specifically about what he calls procedural animation. So, you'll notice in a lot of games, especially shooter and action games, once you kill an enemy, they always die the same, right? Their bodies kind of go through a specific written animation that the developers have put in there, unless it's a game that's completely 100% physics driven, and then you'll see the physics engine kind of control how the dead body falls to the ground or whatever. This is something a little bit different than most games, the way most games handle it. And it's procedural. So he's got a system built in where it's an animated death. It isn't like a physics based thing. But the animation is not written. The code kind of writes itself as it goes. And what it does is it's a subtle thing that you don't really notice if you're not looking at it or looking for it, but you feel it in the immersion. It makes the world feel more real, and that was one of the things, Eric, that I noticed when I got started in the game today, was just how different the kind of physics and animation aspect felt to the game compared to most standalone VR games today. It's still ahead of them, right?
It is. That's why I was saying, like if this game dropped today exactly the way it is, it would, and it was like kind of marketed, and you showed people exactly what it was, and it went on the store proper, and you had a full launch with a great trailer. This game would be probably one of the better sellers that you'll see out there, because it feels like it's a today game. Even though it was built how many years ago now, it exactly feels like that. And I did the same thing you did, Wes. I started from scratch, which we probably shouldn't have, just because I don't think you can access the new levels until you unlock them, which can be a difficult thing when you're in this type of game, because it's so hard. Because like you literally can't, like, they should have a free play mode where you can just go in and check every level out, because I don't even know how long it would take for you
it's
to
called
see
casual
these new levels.
It's casual mode, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you
they do
probably
have
still
a
to unlock
slider
them, but-
bar where you can. I think there's a slider bar where you can like change your, how much health you have or how powerful your weapons are when you start.
So what do you? I forgot what I was gonna say.
Anyways, I think to your point, Eric, I think that GT had the right idea here. GT said he used Quest Games Optimizer, turned it up to 120 FPS, and then gave it a 25% bump in resolution. So yeah,
I always forget
think,
to do that.
I do too. I've never used that Games Optimizer.
I
Never once.
I don't want to. I'm not looking to spend 5 minutes before, or even just an extra 30, 40 seconds. That's just more friction. Now I got to go into an optimizer and try to optimize it. How about Meta? How about you optimize your shit first, and then I can feel better about your products not being shitty. That's a good way. That's a good way to turn it against Meta.
You're right. Well, at least you got it in there, right? Got that gut punch in.
Get it off my chest. Still salty.
You know who loves to get it on their chest?
You know who else loves to be salty? On her chest. Okay. Yeah, on Mother's Day. Man, she's dirty today. Man, what's wrong with her?
Anyways, new Quest owners, hear me now when I say this before we move on. This is the best wave shooter in VR. Especially if we're talking about standalone VR, it's really pretty much a no contest. It is a unique, addictive game that will give you hours upon dozens of hours of gameplay here. A lot of depth, a lot of uncommon depth for this genre.
It is considered a horror.
Oh yeah,
that's what they say.
It's horrific. It's horrific.
Yeah.
You want scary spiders and shit? This is here. This is there's small ones, there's big ones, there's freaking like these huge huge tick looking things that suck your
dinosaurs.
Just take a moment to watch this. Watch what's happening here. Like, imagine if this were real.
Yeah, and you got what the worst thing is those things that send out that injection thing, right? The big spider that attaches to you and then you can't move.
Yeah.
So there's so many times that, I cannot tell you how many times, especially when I played it on normal, not today, because easy is not as hard as normal, where you're like, okay, got your 8 minutes and you've survived. And you're like, yes, I fucking did it. You're floating up, man. The thing's got you. You're done. And then something snags you right at the last second. You've already literally are starting to go up, but it gets you. And that whole run is wasted. And it's such that's what I'm saying. There's a paranoia feeling the entire time. This game does a really good job of creating tension. Because
it's because the way that they do it, the way that the enemies spawn in, they always spawn behind you. And the game is constantly trying to keep you distracted from the enemies that are coming from the other direction. And oftentimes, after you get past even the first 3 or 4 levels, you get to the point where you have 4 and 5 different enemy types, and then more, as you go on. And some of them are very weak pushover type enemies. But those are the ones that always fuck you. It's always the little easy ones because you don't pay as much attention to those because 2 shots will kill them. And you focus primarily on the bigger ones. The problem is as you get closer, 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in, and you get more nervous, you start paying even more attention to these big guys, and you'll get to the point where you have 2 of those on you or 3, and they will literally suck you almost to the point where you're dead. And then one of those little pussy ass tiny little enemies will come up and bite you on your ass, and that'll be the one thing that sets you over the line and kills you, and you have to start all over again.
It's all about movement. teleporting
Yeah,
too.
you have to move.
You
have
have
to use
to
the
move.
teleport. But the teleport is just part of the game in this. Like it's natural and it feels like it's supposed to be there with this game.
Right. Yeah. You love the teleport. That's
The
your friend.
teleport, it's not the locomotion style, it's an ability. It's like a jump. So like it's got full locomotion and smooth turning, but you also have the ability to teleport, and you have to. You're gonna fucking die if you don't.
Yep.
Which is
Absolutely.
one of the cool things I like about this Ruuts is like the teleport. You can pretty much teleport as far as you can see in this thing, right? Like you can jump way across the map in just a couple of clicks of the thumbstick.
Yeah, you're limited too on how many teleports you can do per time frame. So
Yeah.
you want to
Yep.
make sure you make them count. Because really it's all about jumping across that screen, getting enough distance between you and everything that's was just about to fucking ass rape you. Now you're you're a good 40, 50 yards away and you're turned around and you're shooting them again. Awesome Tatum says he forgot how much detail went into the background seeing the footage here. I guess I'm always too busy shooting spiders. You know what's funny is like what I was impressed with is because I only went so far because I literally would get to that level and I never passed it because I wanted to beat it on normal. These worlds are all so infinitely different to the point where that's why I was so shocked when I went into that dark world and there was a flashlight and I was like, what the hell is this? You know, like it's just cool, man. There's 24 different planets and each one of them is very unique and different with different unique animals. And yeah, that's just really good.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
recommend
great.
it enough.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's $20. It's a no-brainer. It is a must-have for any fan of action shooters. Just trust us, people. If you trust us on anything, go buy this game today and give it a shot. It's going to be hard at first, but if you play this game for a half an hour, you're going to lose a dozen hours or more to it over the next week, most likely. So, yeah, just trust us. Pick this one up. You'll thank us later. I promise.
Oh, look at that radar. I forgot to mention how cool the radar
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much. Like the special weapons for your boomstick, like the chopper. I love the chopper
The
so
chopper's
much.
so good.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, we could talk for another hour about this standalone wave shooter, but we've got a segment that we need to do, a segment we have not done in quite some time, and that segment is the best of Viveport. We're going to take some time to kind of look through the Viveport catalog and show people some of the titles that they've been missing while they haven't been paying attention to the other PCVR store. And I thought it would be a good idea before. So Ruuts and Eric and I have each picked 3 titles from the Viveport catalog that we would like to present you with. We're going to take turns. I'll present one. Ruuts will present one. Eric will present one, and then we'll start over again. But just as a little warm up, I thought it would be a good idea just to run a few trailers for you guys, just to see the type of gold that you've been missing out on if you have not been paying attention to Viveport over the last year. So, Ruuts, if you wouldn't mind, show these people some of these awesome new games that have come out on Viveport.
Indie Code Games presents Disco Time 80s VR. Let's get the party started.
A dance style.
Hair. Hair can be found on almost every skin site. However, density, length, and strength differ. Chapin. In healthy skin, the last step of epidermal regeneration, the exfoliation of single corneocytes, happens invisibly in the skin surface. Sweat. Sweat glands are small tubulous structures traversing dermis and epidermis. There are two types of sweat glands that differ in structure, function, secretion, and distribution. Eccrine sweat glands can be found almost everywhere. Epicrine sweat glands are primarily limited to the armpits. Keratinocyte cell. This is the most common cell of epidermis, the keratinocyte. It's generated in the basal layer by cell division. When stimulated by heat, emotional stress, physical strain, or ingestion of spicy food, sweat glands secrete water-based sweat, which evaporates and cools our body. Extracellular matrix. Both dermal layers contain a network of collagen and elastic strands, responsible for skin's mechanical resilience and elasticity. Fibroblast. Skin's collagen and elastin are renewed by dermal fibroblast and occurred in their own fibrous network fibroblasts.
Okay, so that was 3 gems that none of us had any idea were even on the market. Disco Time 80s VR, Human Skin VR, which is
So
my
good.
personal favorite, and then Kung Fu Town VR. All very good games in their own right. Very original ideas as well.
You know what's crazy is I totally agreed with Looper, the underground game cat. He was saying that it looked so well produced for the section, and I agree. Human Skin looks very well produced. I know that's what you were talking about, Looper, right? Maybe
production on the skin tag one. I mean, it looks
yes. Who doesn't want to? Take
You know,
a skin
though,
tag?
as we move along, I don't know if anything's quite as well produced as my first title, Fish Shooter. This game is, of course, it's available with Viveport Infinity, but if you want to purchase this game, you can have it at the very fair price of $1.50.
Oh my god!
wow, it's a
and the-
bargain.
And the description reads as follows. The well-known fish lord indulges so many people in this 2D sea fishing world that they can't even extricate themselves.
Hmm.
Now VR will lead you to experience a real fishing adventure in the virtual underwater world. Hold on.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, it's an adventure. All right.
Through this game, you can have a visual feast with not only gorgeous coral, blackish green seaweed, fish gathering in crowds and groups, but also the ferocious great white whale on the top of the food chain underwater, the legendary squiggle squid, and the horror devilfish. They are not that kind of silly fish waiting for you to capture them. You know, their temper is not very good. There's a great chance that you will be gulped by the shark with no fish at all.
The shark or the great white whale? They're contradicting themselves.
Yeah, could be both.
No, could be.
The game is divided into 3 modes. Each mode will bring you a totally different experience. So there we go. That one is called
$1.50.
Fish Shooter.
A lot of people, you might
believe this is $1.50.
Well, think about this. There's people out there right now that are saying, "But Wes, I don't have Viveport Infinity." You don't need it. It's $1.50. It's less than
$1.50.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's less than a cup of coffee. It's less than a Virtual Strangers Patreon. That's half of Virtual Strangers Patreon, and you have hours of gameplay, of fishing and swimming around, and yeah, it looks amazing.
How is this gem not on Infinity?
I think it is.
It is. It is on Infinity.
Is it on Infinity? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yes.
So you can buy it for $1.50, but man, if you have Infinity, you get this thing forever in your Infinity library.
Yeah. Well, you know, some people might not have Infinity, and they have $2 or they have $1.50, and they're ready to go fishing. I wonder if this would be one of those good games that, you know, Anthony always talked about, deep sea fishing in VR. This is the experience. He probably played this. It's very immersive.
Yeah.
You got to watch out though for that great white whale.
Yeah, the great white whale
or shark whale. You know,
it sounded like they were
squid.
talking about a shark and the squiggle squid. Yeah. So, well, yeah, this is definitely worth checking out. The production value alone is quality.
Looper says, I didn't know Paint the Town Red was on Viveport. It's not. That was Kung Fu Town VR, sir. Very different game.
Yeah, come on, man.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Paint the Town Red stole from this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one definitely, most definitely came out first, I'm sure.
Anyway, Ruuts, what was your first exhibit when it comes to the best of Viveport?
My first one was a little game called Funny Wings VR, and interestingly, it's not as cheap as your $1.50. And it's $2, or you can be on Infinity. But what
a jip!
What a jip! Yeah, this is a ripoff. But what got me about this one is the description was it's pretty simple, basic, but you get to fly with style in immersive, beautiful environments. Chase the witch who has stolen all your rare artifacts. From the makers of one of the best-selling games, Lost Twins, which I've never heard of, which I actually.
This is from the devs of Lost Twins?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
You didn't realize that?
Oh, God, that changes everything. Well, what I thought was funny is as I was watching this, I thought, well, actually, it doesn't look that bad. And looks like it would be a game on a phone almost. But, yeah, Funny Wings. I don't know what's funny about it. You're just chasing a witch. But, yeah, it looks like it's got fairly good production value. And it's $2 or Viveport Infinity. 3.9 stars.
Wow.
6 reviews on
Wow,
yeah.
6 reviews?
It's got 6 reviews. That's actually pretty that's pretty big for Viveport. Viveport doesn't get a lot of reviews on it. So let's see if the reviews have any words in them.
Yeah, a couple of them do, but I think they might be the same. Your games are cool.
This is great fun. Something about it kept me wanting more. Well, why don't you give us a little less detail there, buddy?
Something. I don't know what it was. It was that I couldn't get it. There was no exit menu.
How about this? This is a fun game. I smile big with this one. It kept me busy and wanting more. I liked falling behind the witch as I tried to get as many stars as I could without falling off my broom. This is a lot of levels, and it starts out easy, but quickly becomes more difficult. I love
That's
the fact that
definitely not the developer.
yeah, because
No, it's the developer's
I liked following behind the witch because that's a normal thing to say. But yeah,
That's a very normal thing to say.
but this is exactly what Aaron said. If you ever wanted to play a cheesy cell phone game in VR with really basic controls and graphics, this is the game for you. And that's what I thought. I thought, man, this looks like a cell phone game. And yeah, this is it.
It's in
There you
VR,
go.
man. Everything's
$2.
better in VR.
Yeah, $2.
$2.
And that's
or
the thing.
included with your Viveport Infinity.
Right. So for right now,
Steal.
what Viveport Infinity, you bought the whatever I'm sure we'll talk about the rates at the end. But there's 2 gems right there. Actually 5 gems that you've just seen so far, or 4. No, 5.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's great about Infinity? You get these gems, and they even just throw in like mediocre titles, like Saints and Sinners.
yeah, a couple of the crappier ones, right?
Yeah, they throw
Old
like
news,
after
brother.
after the Fall In, Saints and Sinners.
Old news, those games. People
Yeah.
are tired of that.
That's,
garbage.
that's not like following the witch.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking about old news, Eric, what's your first choice this week?
So we go into these things looking for like super obscure, different titles. Hidden gems. I actually found
Yeah.
one. I actually found one that I want to play this game now. I didn't get time to, but I'm gonna download this with my Infinity title. This is Spuds Unearthed, and this is made. I didn't even realize until I opened it up by our friends at Game Dust, who made Jupiter Grad and some of the other classic games like Rooms of
Wow.
Realities that we've known. And this came out in 2018. And
Mhm.
it's on all PC platforms, so it's on the Rift Store, it's on Steam, and it's on Viveport Infinity, and it's Spuds Unearthed. This is they give a huge description of this game in Viveport. I don't know, it's going to take me a while to go through this, so just bear with me, everybody. Do you have a sentiment for games with little funny creatures that cause a lot of mayhem, or maybe you like to feel in charge and do that on your own? We provide both of these things in Spuds Unearthed. That's the description of the game.
Oh.
They put a lot of thought and effort into the description of this game. But damn, this looks pretty cool, man. Look at this video. This is like a tower defense type game where you're a freaking potato.
5 years old.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
when this game came out.
Oh, it's on PlayStation VR 1, by the way. Also.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
And I think this is multiplayer, right? Like,
It is.
yeah. No, it's single player game.
No, I think no. Oh no, that was one of the other ones I found. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a different one. But this
But yeah, this was a PSVR 1 game and a Steam game. And I never really particularly like looked forward to it, but I do remember there were people like anticipating this when it launched. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some good reviews, like from Tom Ziddy, which he didn't give it a review at all. He left it blank.
You give it 5 stars.
Well,
Man.
He gave it
come
5
on.
stars.
Said-
He just didn't say shit. He said nothing.
Listen, this was 2019. COVID was about to hit. People were like, they knew it. They just didn't know. They were like, they felt it inside. So they were freaking out.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember that game that we played, Captain Toonhead and the Space
Yeah.
Punks
The
from Outer Space or
Chancla?
whatever it was? With the Chancla, yeah.
The Chancla, yeah.
The Chancla. This kind of reminds me of that because it's like tower defense meets, base attack kind of thing. So, But it looks pretty damn cool, man. I can't believe we haven't seen this before.
Haven't seen it since 2018 anyway.
Yeah.
I guarantee Looper's probably played it. He's been quiet though. It's getting
Yeah.
late. People
It
are
is getting late.
speechless.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is $11.99. This has got 9 reviews with 3.5 stars on there.
Dude, $11.99. What a
$11.99.
steal. What a steal. Actually, it looks like a pretty good game.
Looper, this is Spuds Unearthed. You dig up
Spuds
potatoes and then they work for you
Unearthed.
and they battle for you. Spuds Unearthed. I literally jumped to this game because I'm looking for a obscure title and I'm like, this has got to be something super weird. And I was a little shocked when I saw it. I'm like, wow, 2018, this game looks really good. And it's
There-
it must
you know,
have done
there's
pretty
a
well.
lot
It's
of
featured
these.
highly on their website. Like they when you go to the Game Dust website, it's one of the games that they feature right on the main page.
Olu PL joining us. Welcome, Olu. Good morning. So yeah, there's actually quite a few of these really polished cartoony titles on Viveport. And many of them look like they could be fun. I've always wanted to play that Wolf and Pigs VR. Do you remember that game?
I remember the
Wolf and Pigs.
title, but I don't remember the game.
It was like another one of these like little wave shooters, but it's super cartoony. Had a different kind of take on it. And another Viveport Infinity game that looks really polished like this one does. Anyways, you think that's polished? Wait till you see my number 2 submission. It's called I'm Now or I'm Now Nao. This is pure magic, and Ruuts, the value train keeps rolling, son. This one is only $1.
Yeah, Wes is picking the deals, man. Eric's got $11.99. I had $2. That's $1. And he looks like he
$1.
dances, Wes. So tell
He
us
does.
about now. It's English now, right?
All right, this is the description as the developers have put it. I Haven English, now I. Now, this is a robot of artificial intelligence, high-end products, which belongs to the household and teaching robot by French Aldebaran Robotics Company. Thanks. I am a realistic artificial intelligence robot VR avatars. I can sing, dance, but also do host.
Oh.
You can change me with a Vive helmet.
Oh.
Well, we are doing VR social. So we chat in the virtual world with voice. If you want to dance in the mirror, I don't oppose it in the principle.
Wow, that makes me feel so much better. We got the okay,
That's-
Eric, to do some dancing.
They took the
in
words
mirror.
Thank
right out
God.
of my mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're all doing VR social. And well, my only problem is I don't have the VR or the Vive helmet. So what
Oh,
do I
you don't have the helmet?
I don't have the Vive helmet, so what do I do?
Dude.
Like I decided to
Maybe
go
Brad will let us borrow his Vive helmet.
Well,
that
I
would
heard
be
you
cool.
could use it on the Vive goggles if you don't have the helmet.
Maybe. Maybe. That's a stretch, Eric. $1.
I love
man.
how they don't encourage you to dance in this game. They tell you you can dance if you want to. They don't oppose it in principle.
Yeah, you can dance, but it's kind of frowned upon.
So it's not
Heck,
footloose. It's not footloose problems. This is
We're not technically against it. Like we'd prefer you didn't.
it's not against the law,
But
but
In principle, I mean, okay.
Well,
If
people
that's
don't.
real what you really want to do.
I think Footloose was a little ahead of its time. I think we should all
Yeah.
go back, no dancing. Look where it led, Wes. You know what I mean? The world is in shambles. It's because of dancing. Has to be. It's the only logical solution.
Oh, anyways, I'm now $1 Viveport.
Yeah,
Get it
that,
today.
that is, you have to buy this one. There is no Infinity version for this one. I'm looking
Oh, there's
at.
not.
No,
Oh,
it just
man,
says
they're missing
$1. Man, you got
What are you doing, Viveport? I mean, come on, holding their best stuff out and making people buy it.
holding aside for $1. It's $1, man. What a steal. Well, I'll tell you
Yeah.
what is not a steal is right up there with Eric's fucking $11.99 game. That my next pick here is called Fight Corona VR, because who doesn't want to kill the virus and save the world? You are a white blood cell in a body protecting the body from the virus. Now, what got me on this one, it wasn't the $11.99. It wasn't the Infinity. It was not the description. It was the riveting gameplay. Because as I watched this gameplay loop for what is it? How long is it? I think it's like a minute or something. 40, yeah, about a minute and 10 seconds. I was blown away at like just the amount of things you can do fighting these
How original.
coronavirus. Very
This
original.
is original.
Well, and the best part about it is a portion of the proceeds do go to fight COVID-19. And so I'm
Nice.
really, really stressed still about.
I
about
wonder
Corona.
if the proceeds
There it is.
go
Refund.
directly to the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Well, they need a little bit more funding, you know. Get it right next time. Not start something. But yeah, no. Fight Corona, $11.99, Viveport Infinity. If you don't want to shell out that, you can actually get this for free while you're playing Saints and Sinners. You can take a break. This is a great palate cleanser. And come back to your game. Yeah,
I wonder if you have to wear a mask inside your helmet with this one.
you might want to anyway. Looks pretty dirty in there. How do you know
You
what's?
gotta watch out, man.
I can't tell the difference. I think I'd be shooting the wrong ones. You know, like I don't know what's going on in here.
That's true.
It's
You gotta
crazy.
watch for that spike protein. That's the thing that'll get you.
I think so. Pant says good morning.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning. Good morning.
I wonder if like if you like do so many of them in a row, you get a power up, like maybe ivermectin or
I would love.
vitamin D or something.
I think you have a little Dr. Fauci that comes in running with the syringe.
Oh my god.
That would
I
be
miss
cool.
your little pet ivermectin from
Sea of Thieves.
from Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, and Mr. Dr. Fauci.
You had like a pet monkey, right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't talk about
Ivermectin.
the monkey.
You know who loves to pet your monkey?
Oh man, she does. She does. She also likes to fight against coronavirus.
Who
So.
doesn't?
How much money do you think they made for the fund? And it says, you know, a percentage. I'd be interested to know, but
I'm sure they cured the whole thing right
no,
now.
dude, it's solved. They cured it, so they must have done. Yeah,
You
you're
think
right.
they-
I'm
something.
sure they made tens of thousands of cents.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody
Yeah.
needs to make sense here.
Well, you know what's crazy is like some of the other games that we were saying, we were joking in a sense, $1, $1.50, $2. Like somebody's gonna pay that. It's a buck. It's $1.50. Nobody's paying 11. I guess during the height of COVID, maybe. You know, it's like, oh, it's $11.99. Well, a portion of it's going to the fund. Certain revenue generated. But yeah, it's crazy.
Eric, number 2, please.
So my games keep getting more expensive. This one is actually super highly rated. It has 4 reviews with a 4.3 star, and this is
Ooh.
Kitten'd.
Oh my god.
Kitten'd. Somebody got kittened. This is Viveport Infinity. This is also Windows Mixed Reality, Oculus Rift, and Steam as well. Actually, no, it's not Steam. I don't see it on Steam. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's Windows Mixed Reality, so it's got to be good if it's on Mixed Reality.
I think this might be another PlayStation game too. If I
Yeah, they
remember
don't list
correctly.
it. They didn't list it here, but maybe they came out afterwards on PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I remember this game.
It looks
But-
bright.
yeah, very bright. Like, yeah, almost too bright. Look at these cats. I mean, who doesn't want to mess with cats in VR?
That's true. I bet a lot of game cats would love it.
Yeah. This isn't one of those games that the game cats should like just bring in. If it's not on there, they should fight to get it on there.
It says you get points for keeping them happy, and you lose points for everything they destroy. You use your points to upgrade your tools, and you get an automatic food dispenser or clean up poop faster with the Poop Scoop 3000. So there's actual progression, Wes, in this game.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
yeah, $14.99.
Well,
What a steal!
is this an Infinity title?
This is an
This is.
Yes,
Yeah.
you don't need to shell out $15. You can use this as your palate cleanser.
These I don't know. These games are weird, man. People love these games. Isn't there another PlayStation title that is something like this?
Well, there's a few of them. There's let's see, what were the cat titles on PSVR? There was there was two of them. One of them was called Neko Atsume
That's what it was. Yeah.
VR. There's Kitty Apocalypse.
So the cat
And then
seems to
there-
have set the kitchen on fire.
Well, hey, I mean,
Well, nobody's
they're
perfect.
cats.
Yeah, cats are cats. So how much do you lose for that? Oh, you lose your house. It's just burnt down, Ruuts. Yeah, no, it actually looks pretty. It looks pretty cool. You know, it's got 4 reviews.
Yeah, I mean, 4 reviews,
You
and
know?
it's $14.99, but you can get it on Infinity for way less, like for dollars a month, like it could be less than $10 a month.
Yeah,
Let's
this guy
hear it.
says. This guy says big fan. Of course, their name is Kitten'd. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you would like it since it's your
Hey,
game.
we got another big review here from Tim, with no review. He
That's
just-
4 stars though. He says he
yeah,
likes
no,
it.
I know.
Yeah.
John Cresher joining us in the chat says R.I.P. Steve Albini.
Yeah, I know.
For those of you who don't know Steve Albini, a prolific musician and musical producer.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know him.
So typical Kiwi in the chat as well. What's up, Kiwi? Thanks for joining us all. We very much appreciate it. Anyway, no, I think this is another legit game here, actually, Eric.
I do. I'm finding gems. I'm telling you. I meant to go in here and find like some obscure stuff, but I found like hidden super gems, like the Spuds game. I would definitely. I'm not sure I would get into this game, but I mean, there's going to be people out there that might. I mean, this came out in 2019.
Well, this is
Can you
a
imagine if we
perfect.
did a merch box for it, Eric? We could put it like in a litter box.
Could we put like real cats? inside
You
the box
could,
and
but you
send it to
better put
people?
holes in there. You're gonna have problems from legal. It would not be a good go for your
It
company.
wouldn't be as bad as getting like the broken Demio figures.
Oh yeah. I just want to see Tass packing these boxes full of kittens.
He's like,
He would do it too.
he's like, he says something about the real kittens. You're like, real kittens? Like, no, dude, they're not supposed to be real. Oh shit! He gets that look on
Conrad's
his face.
Kittens. Thank you, Looper. That's the one I was trying to think of. Conrad's Kittens.
Conrad's kittens. He's like, oh
Well,
wait,
this-
you didn't mean real kittens?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh shit. He's like, picks up the phone, honey. We need to get to the
We
post
need to
office
do
quick.
this. I'm gonna reach out to this company, see if we can set this up.
Yeah, so this is a perfect example of the beauty of Viveport Infinity, right? Like you see a game like this, and you're like, I'm not spending $15 on it. A game
Right.
that I don't know if it's going to be what I think it's going to be, but you already have the Infinity subscription, so why not? It's free. You know?
Yeah.
And what a better Mother's Day present
Yes.
than a VR game about kittens.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look
That
at
is
these
true.
things. They're so cute.
My wife loves cats,
Who doesn't love cats?
and I love pussy, so we have that in common.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't love pussy cats?
You know who
Oh.
loves pussy? Yeah.
She loves everything, dude.
JPEG Q, what up? Good to see you. Random thought looking at this cat game. Stray was made in UE4. Could it be good modded with UEVR?
It is.
Yes. It is
Yes.
good modded with UEVR, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to try out. It mods easily. It was actually good in Reshade before UEVR came out.
And you can get a mod that makes your cat look like Garfield, right? Isn't that true?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what somebody said. Who doesn't want to have Garfield?
Anyway, yeah, you should definitely next time you catch Stray on a sale, pick it up. You can definitely play it. It works well with UEVR.
Yep.
And we move along to our last round of the best of Viveport. And I saved the best for last. A very exciting title that I'm super stoked to share with you all.
Progression. For real.
Yeah, you're not kidding, brother. This is another $1 gem just $1 for this game. It's called Dozen Balloons. Dozen Balloons. And if you pay attention, I don't know if you can stop and look at the thumbnail for it, Ruuts. They actually, in a very clever marketing move, misspelled dozen, and it says boson balloons, which is
There it is. Oh,
marketing gold there.
Yeah.
But the description of this game reads as follows. There's a boat on the river. There are many balloons on the boat. Your right hand has a gun. You can press the trigger, can break the balloon. Only the balloon will break. The game is 1-0. Then the balloon inside there will be things that can increase the bullet for you. You can increase the radiation by shooting light-emitting balloons. Balloon can increase 10 bullets to you. The more you shoot the balloon, the more difficult it is. When you shoot more than 50 balloons, the balloons will move around. You shoot the difficulty. And if the bullet is gone, the game is over. We'll restart the game and exit the game button. The left hand will appear a ray. Press the trigger. You can choose whether to start the game or end the game.
Oh. That's good.
Doesn't
Well,
sound
that's a
fun?
good thing to throw at the end there. A little tutorial.
Now get this. I know you're thinking, I know what you're all thinking. My computer won't run this.
Right. I was just thinking that.
Believe it or
Me too,
not,
yeah.
the recommended spec for this, GTX 970.
Oh God, I had
Wow.
that card. That was a long time ago. That was
4
a long time.
gigabytes of 4 gigabytes of RAM you need. You need to at least have an i5. It runs on Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10. And
Who's running VR in Windows 7?
but you need to make sure. You need to make sure though before you spend $1 on this that you have at least 200 megabytes on your hard drive.
Oh God, that's a big game. Well, I would like to start off right off the bat by saying, even with them spelling differently, because if it is supposed to be dozens, well, is it dozens or dozen? I guess it is. There are dozens. I don't know, man.
It's one singular.
Oh, okay.
Dozen balloons.
So that's my
Dozen.
problem.
I think boson better.
Yeah, well, it makes more sense because there's more than a dozen there. So
Right. The several boson.
yeah, well, yeah, maybe it's the boson particle is in there. It does emit radiation. So
it's boson.
yeah, boson.
God particle is in one of the balloons, and you have to find it.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what. It's definitely $1. Do you think it's worth $1? Maybe.
Well, I mean, your right hand has a gun.
That's true.
The trigger can break the balloon. Again, you can increase the radiation, and
Yeah.
I mean, to cap it all off,
You convinced me.
Let's see that.
You had me at you get to you just had
well,
me. 100
here's
pennies.
the thing.
100 pennies.
Most, I mean, you guys know these balloon games on the Quest store are a dime a dozen, right?
But
but
true. It is true.
how often can you say that you shoot the difficulty?
That is true.
With a ray.
Yeah, with a ray. I like how there's never he said nothing about bullets, right? It makes it sound like that.
Well, I
just
mean, if the
magically.
bullet is gone, then the game is over. That's how the game is over.
Well, that's true. I'm ready to get in there now. If it wasn't for my next game, then I would probably be playing this one right now.
Yeah.
That's just because
Yeah.
it's your pick. If it wasn't your pick, you'd be in this one.
That's true. That is true.
So again, if you don't have the $1 for this is an Infinity title. But if you don't have Infinity and you've got a few quarters lying around, maybe you have more than a few. Maybe you have a buzzin'.
Got a buzzing
Who
dimes.
doesn't have a buzzing?
They're good to go.
Anyway, Ruuts, what do you got to take us home here?
My last one was more for MASH than anybody. It's called
Nice.
Beers and Boomerangs. Okay. So this is, now it is a little bit expensive. If you're not playing on Infinity, it's $20. Most expensive game of the thing. But it's a chaotic survival cooking VR game where kangaroos are stealing your beer. You got to multitask between cooking for your mates and assaulting Australian fauna, and you master your fully physics-based boomerangs and defend your barbecue. So, I really just was looking for some kind of a cooking game, because I know you like these kind of games.
You found it, brother.
Yeah. Well, and then you get to defend your beer with boomerangs from kangaroo. I just wanted to.
So
I
good.
kind of felt like it was our version of, American. What's that American game where
American Dream.
Yeah, American Dream. This is our version for the Australians. We're now
can
get to
put
make fun
shrimp
of
on the
you
Barbie.
for a minute. We're gonna make shrimp on the Barbie. We're gonna get some
Yeah.
kangaroos.
It kind of reminds me of that. What was the other Viveport food game? Is it Fat Foods? Fat Foods? It was called?
Yes.
Didn't
Yep.
you roll or something? Oh man,
Yeah,
that
something
was,
like that.
that was good stuff, man. I want to play that one too.
Cook for your friends. Oh, it's a multiplayer game.
Multiplayer, $20, man. I guess the cardboard
Seriously.
people, but yeah, no, it's definitely it's a cooking game, and it's got 5
You shoot the
stars,
difficulty?
4 reviews. You
With a
cannot
ra-
shoot the difficulty. Great game play loop and controls. I am the main developer of Beers and Boomerangs. Try this if you're looking for a polished cooking and fighting experience. That's a good way.
Well,
to,
I mean, I was just telling you the other day that there weren't enough polished cooking and fighting experiences.
Yes. Well, especially where something like a kangaroo is trying to steal your beer. I thought that was
That's true.
the topper.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't want to box with those kangaroos, but you give me boomerangs.
dude, I heard those
Game on,
kangaroos will
brother.
fuck you up, man. They
They legit will.
Oh yeah.
That's funny, man. We don't have anything cool like that here in the United States.
No, we just got fucking raccoons and
Yeah, that's true. Raccoons are pretty cool.
possums, and we don't have kangaroos. We got
Yeah.
black bears.
Pandas. We don't have pandas. In the zoo, we have pandas.
Eric, I know you've set a trend here of picking up, multi-platform, very polished games, but I gotta say, the Go Home title from you, it really takes the cake.
It does. It does. You need eggs to make a cake, and that's what the basis of this game is about.
Mm.
And this one's not as multi-platform. I think you're pretty much only finding it on Windows Mixed Reality or here, and it's called Ceggtcher.
Texture.
Ceggtcher.
Ceggtcher.
Ceggtcher. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably
Anymore.
Ceggtcher, like catcher and egg in the middle.
Yeah, but it has VR on it, so it's going to be good.
It's got to
Ceggtcher
be.
VR.
It's a little chicken, little chick. And look how cute he is.
Yeah, hell yeah. And look how much they put of gameplay in the trailer so you can figure out what the fuck this thing's about.
Well, who needs gameplay, right?
No, yeah. I mean, look, you just see the chicken come out of the egg, and you're like, now I get it. Now I know what I'm playing and buying for $3 because
Yeah,
this
this
game
is-
came out in 2016.
It's another game that
this
doesn't
gen.
have any way to play it on Infinity.
Yep, no Infinity
Yeah,
here.
no Infinity
$3.
here. $3. You got to buy it. This has 0 reviews. Came out in 2016. It's got 0 reviews. I don't know why it doesn't with the amazing trailer that they have. That really draws people into the game. I don't know why they don't have any reviews. It just boggles my mind. But this is for each egg caught, the player is given 1 point. First, the egg rolls slowly, but then, the pace of the game is going to accelerate gradually.
Are you kidding?
Every 20 and 30 scored points.
Are you choking the chicken?
chicken. Yeah, so every 20 or 30 scored points, the pace of the game slows down a bit. So it's
Ooh.
not going to get harder. It's going to get easier. Which is super good for
Oh man,
Amazing
Ruuts-
gameplay
Ruuts-
loop, dude.
click on the third frame there. You don't have the page up, do you? No, never mind.
I have
thought you were
the
on the
Ceggtcher.
Viveport Ceggtcher page. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I'm
have
here.
some screenshots so people can see what the gameplay looks like.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not on that. I could get to that.
I can
No,
just
it's
tell
not-
from
it's
the
not worth
descriptions
it.
we've given
It's
that
not
people will
worth
just go
it.
buy it anyway.
Yeah. Well, here's what the description. For each caught egg, the player is given 1 point. First, the eggs roll slowly, but the pace of the game is accelerating gradually.
Hmm.
Every 20 to 30 scored points, the pace of the game slows down a bit. If in the case the egg falls, the player is given a penalty point, which is indicated by a chicken. It will appear on the box on your right. If it occurs in the presence of a kitten, here we go.
Oh god.
In the presence of a kitten, which appears in the box on your left, the player is then given a half of a penalty point. On the box on your right appears an egg instead of a chicken.
Oh, the complexity of this system is crazy, man.
Yeah, you
It's
can tell
so
they
well
put a lot of.
explained.
Yeah. Well, look at what's new, like in this version. It's
What's
the
new?
it's the main release.
Eric, are you just yoking of this game? Somebody said in the chat.
So it says what's new. It says main, RELISE. I think that's supposed to be main release. So this is full access now. This
It's
is
the main
Oh,
release.
this is it. Yeah. Well,
oh man.
if anything, and this is funny. Okay, so this has got to be said. We're not necessarily making fun of the context of the somebody. It's in English. Somebody should be proofreading this and saying that this doesn't
How about GPT?
I get that
It's
there's a
free.
translation problem,
Yeah.
but somebody's job should be trying to make it sound like you want to sell the fucking game. You know what I mean? At some point, because I can't rent this one. I can't play it on Infinity for $3,
Like for me to put this in my Google Doc to make the run of show. Like there's red squigglies that I have to click on and tell them to ignore to put something like that in there. So that when they were typing this in the Viveport, it was just like constant red squigglies all over everything.
It's just crazy. Because
You know what I just noticed? The developer of this, I think it's
In dreams.
It is in dreams. It was early on for them. This is Funny Twins. Didn't we just talk about Funny Twins? Funny Twins games?
We probably did.
I think it was one of the
probably did.
earlier games. We said there was Funny
I've
Twins.
noticed that there was a bit of a common thread between a lot of this gold that we're finding on Viveport. Like there's like 100 games from like 3 dudes.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, Wes, as many as these gems that we've seen, I think I had to scroll through, honestly, 5, 6, 7 pages of stuff at least till I started to get to stuff that wasn't main titles. Was so many good titles in Viveport Infinity. So I guess we could talk about the good, the good of Viveport, right?
Yeah, again, this was all kind of tongue in cheek. We're just having a bit of fun. To be honest, when I search out these titles, I go to the Viveport Infinity or the Viveport catalog, not Infinity, but the Viveport general catalog, and I click on the last page and start working forward with it instead of like what you would normally do, start on page 1 and work to the back to find good games. I start at the back of the catalog and work forward. But if you go to the front of the catalog, what you're going to find is actually that Viveport Infinity is fucking incredible. For real. Ruuts, just a couple of things that pop off the page to you really quickly as you glance over the first page.
After the fall, we just talked about Phasmophobia the other day. I don't know what Sushi Ben is, but hey, it'd be something that'd be curious that it would be too expensive to play, right? Tin Hearts is an amazing game. Warplanes, a T for God. Like I'm seeing several games that are worth playing. And this is page one. And Synth Riders. I think they get better as we go to page 2, 3. You know, like
before we do that.
Okay, cool.
And again, there is the Wizard's Dark Times here. There's Hard Bullet. There's Ragnarok. Richie's Planks on here. Sushi Ben's on here. Last Clockwinder, After the Fall, Atlas Mystery. There's a couple of Warplanes games. Eric, you know, a lot of stuff there that you know, people who are primarily PC gamers are familiar with. What they might not be familiar with, if you're a PC gamer, like if you're exclusively a PC gamer, you got to be looking for titles, right? Like, well, I mean, you've got UEVR, but if you want made from the ground up VR titles, you're always looking, right? So they have games on here like the Events at Unity Farm, which is a really good early access game. They have Tin Hearts VR, which just launched. And by the way, Ruuts, main fan left us a comment last week telling us that we shouldn't be just overlooking Tin Hearts VR, that it was one of his favorite games that he's played this year.
Really?
And,
well,
it's
I loved
underrated.
Well, you remember when we played it when we talked about it years ago when it first came out on PC. I really loved that game. That it was just the detail of all those soldiers and just how cool it was, right? So yeah, definitely should check it out.
And then the Flock of the Lugods on here. This is one that I've been interested in. It's a horror game based on like a movie or a television show. But it looks like it's fairly well produced. It's got a 4.5 out of 5 stars reviews. $10 to buy it, but it's part of Infinity. So yeah, I mean that's one that I'm interested in. It looks pretty good. But yeah, now Ruuts, if you wouldn't mind just going on to page 2 and looking at what's on there.
Well, look at this, too. Last Labyrinth. Remember when this game came out? And I think you played through some of it. It's like $50 or something because it's anime, it's horror, but it was actually really cool. But there's no way I'm paying that kind of price for it. So it's a perfect, perfect
new
example.
releases on here. Toss is on there. Liminal Phase. Those are new games.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's still a Walkabout Mini Golf right here, right there. There's your money. Money's worth.
How about Green Hell VR and Into the Radius?
Right.
Crisis Brigade Reloaded 2. And then Eric, Vox Machina.
My favorite mech game out of all of them, for sure.
I thought,
I think so too. Although I want to check out Underdog.
No,
it's
you know
in our
what?
library.
I played Underdog a little bit, and actually, it's really well done. It's way different than Vox, though. Like two completely different games. Like Underdogs is like feels more like just like an arena based kind of like wave kind of thing. Which is it's still cool though because of mechanics. But Vox is very much like a full blown campaign and then a multiplayer part of it as well. So, but. Yeah, you should both try it. I think it's good. We should maybe I don't know if that's multiplayer too, but it's cool.
Ruuts on page 3. There's a pinball game coming soon that I've never heard of.
Oh, really?
Flipper Mechanic. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Flipper Mechanic VR.
Xbox Game Pass only bit says Viveport has not changed for 3 years. I had it for 3 years, but what the hell are they doing? Well, this is the thing. This is something that there's still, like Wes said, there's games that just came out on there. They're still adding to them.
Yeah, they get a couple games a month on it. They don't get a ton of new games in the Infinity. Now the store itself, like the regular Viveport store, gets pretty much everything Steam does. It well, not everything, but most of what Steam gets comes here. Typically, 3 or 4 weeks after it hits Steam. But looking at page 3 here, Survive sticks out to me. That's a fun game. Upertigrad, Ruins Magus, Cave Digger 2, The Tale of Inaugural, Afterlife VR, and The Shores of Loki. Again, there's 58 pages of games. That's page 3.
Crazy. There's so many good games.
Yeah, and we could go on all night, man. The next page has The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners on it. Gloomy Eyes. And there's look at page 4, Ruuts. This is what I love Viveport for, and I'm being legitimately honest about this.
All these movies, right?
All these movies, yeah. This is stuff that a lot of it's not even available on any other platform. Viveport and HTC fund a lot of the arts in VR. This is stuff that comes to film festivals like Tribeca and so many others all over the world. And then after they make their way through the awards show circuit, so to speak, typically a 12-month process, sometimes longer, they typically end up on Viveport. Most of the good ones do. Some of them will make their way to Quest and Oculus TV, and when they do, they're typically about $3 a piece. But I enjoy these things. They're normally about 20 minutes long. Some of them tell a story. Some of them are just beautiful art. But I would never pay for this stuff.
Right.
And that's why something like Viveport Infinity is so cool, because you can really just kind of, if you're bored, just take an hour and start surfing in here. And I guarantee you're going to find some stuff like In the Land of the Flabby Schnook that you're going to love.
Well, speaking of being bored and surfing for an hour, you could get Kayak VR Mirage, and then you can check it out and not have to spend all the money on it and own it.
Yeah,
that's
a good one.
Yeah. So no, I think this is
remember how cool Spheres was, Ruuts?
Yeah, Spheres. There were so many things that I think were really good, and I think what you said is exactly true. There's a type of things that I was intrigued, but even myself, I'm like, I don't want to spend. I wasn't like $30 or something for Spheres was more expensive than other ones, right? Because it was like 3 parts, right? And it was narrated by, I think it was Jessica Chastain and a couple other people, I believe, but I can't remember exactly. But it's cool. I think this thing is perfect for somebody that wants to try out things, or even games that you maybe are on the fence on. Get a membership for a month and try a bunch of different stuff, and then you can cancel it for a while, come back to it, try at a different time, or it just depends on how many games you have or what you have to play. So,
but before we sign off with it, just really quickly from page 5 here, listen to this. Myst, Audica, Forewarned, which we just talked about, Cosmo Dread, Ancient Dungeon, The Blue, and Wanderer.
and Beers and Boomerangs, which is
And
on my
Beers and
list.
Boomerangs.
Yes, right next to Wanderer, right up there on the
I mean,
same
come
level.
on, son. Wanderer and Audica.
How much money do you save there just between Myst and Wanderer if you bought the membership and just played those 2 games?
Seriously, Wander is a $30 game.
Yeah, that would buy. I mean, it depends on when you paid for it, but if you got it during their holiday sale, you could buy a year of Infinity for what Myst and Wanderer cost you at retail.
Right. Then you got a year to sift through all these gems. The Blue,
Dozen Balloon.
Yeah, buzzing, yeah.
Buzzing.
Boson.
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 Swarm's on here.
Damn. Swarm
Space
2?
Slurpees. No, I don't know about Swarm
No,
2.
just
That's a little bit.
Swarm 1.
Eric's getting a little uppity here. Swarm.
Yeah, like,
2.
how dare you?
Come on, how dare you?
How dare
Yuki's
you?
on here.
Yuki, oh my God. Well,
One of my
there's
favorite
one
games.
of Eric's favorite games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I have to go back to Yuki soon.
Yeah. Didn't you do like a extreme stream?
I
Like
did.
a-
You can play it on like Yuki gets hard, man, and they have like a never-ending mode and like an impossible mode, which gets crazy. It's super cool.
Ooh, Area Man Lives. Who doesn't want to play that again?
Ooh, eesh.
Hey, how about this one? Fracked.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one. What
Yeah.
remember Unbinary Roots?
Yes,
that,
I do.
The puzzle
I do.
game? That's pretty
Yeah.
good, right?
I
That
like
was
that
pretty
one.
good.
That was good.
Yeah, Fracked is pretty Cosmic Flow. I remember that.
Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted is on here. Super Hot's on here. The Shore. I really like The
Ooh.
Shore. Song in the Smoke. That is a great, probably my favorite survival game in VR. Available on here. Everslot's on here. The good PC version of Everslot is on here. Hinge, Zombieland. I mean, we could fucking go on for hours. I mean, we kind of are.
Going on for a while.
Yeah.
Wow, it's definitely a good deal. And
Remember Jump and Jump, Roots?
Jump and Jump. Who could forget Jump?
Yeah,
No,
it's-
actually, I kind of
it's one
forgot.
of-
What is it?
It was one of the other best of Viveport titles that we talked about before.
I almost picked that today. I was actually
game
kind of
called
worried. I'm
Jump
like,
and
I'm going to
Jump.
pick something the same one. And Wes can be like, dude, you already did that one twice.
What about Build Wall VR?
Oh, Build Wall. Who doesn't love Build Wall?
Mexicans.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Shit, man. I just want to keep going. Like the Dread Halls and Iron Guard, and I mean, just fucking game
It's-
after
it's-
game after game after.
It's still the
game.
best deal in VR. Like if today you're like, hey, I'm getting a PC and I'm going to start PCVR gaming, you're crazy if you don't. Like, I don't even know what the cost is for now, but I mean, I've seen it at holiday
I'm looking
time
it up.
for $7.99 a month. I've seen it. Like they usually always do a Black Friday deal where you can get it for like $6.99 a month or like $5.99. Didn't they do one time where it was like $20 for a whole year or $25 for a whole year? So just kind of like look out for deals.
That was when that'll never happen again. That
Probably
was when
not,
they
but-
first started the service. So right now, monthly is $13 a month, or you can get annual, which is what they kind of push people for, and is the best deal. It's $9 a month if you go ahead and buy the year up front or commit to it. And I don't even think you have to pay for it all at once. You just have to commit to the year, and they'll charge you $9 a month for it.
It's such a good deal. I mean, just
there's
you
also,
could save yourself hundreds of dollars in titles.
Right.
There's
and
there's a 2-week free trial for anyone who hasn't ever used it. If you're wondering how it is and if it's how the games run and all of this, like there used to be a stigma, Roots. If you'll remember when we first got into VR, there was a stigma around Viveport because the software kind of always ran in your background and it wasn't very well optimized.
It
and
was
the
like
games didn't run.
It was like
quite as
IMAX
well.
software. It did weird shit
Right.
sometimes to certain people's computers. Anthony had issues where I think it was crashing his computer or something weird was happening with it. So, yeah, definitely was a big stigma to where people didn't want to run it.
But it's better. It's
Yeah.
better now. Like it actually works now. So
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So there's a 2-week free trial that you can check out, and then from there you can either go $12.99 a month with no commitment, or $8.99 a month with the 12-month commitment.
And just so anybody knows, we're not selling this. We don't we don't have a thing with
Nope,
Viveport.
we get nothing for it.
Yeah, we just
We just-
we just wanted to
we-
talk
we-
about it.
We think that it's a fair thing to do. I mean, we've just laughed for an hour at their expense. The least we can do is be honest about their platform and their service before we sign off and let people know that it truly is the best deal in VR. I would buy this before I bought the MetaQuest Plus any day.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much more on here, especially if you're a PC person, right? There's a lot of bangers on here, and then a lot of things that you would be curious about that are going to turn out to be bangers, and then there's a lot of shit that you're going to be entertained because they're so bad that you would never ever play it, like Tornafalo, but because it was free, you laugh at it and you're like, okay, this game is trash. You have a fond memory of the trash, and that's
I think I'm going to post the extras up on the Discord, Ruuts, because we have 6 more games on here that we didn't even talk about. And I think I'll let the people check these out on the Discord. So if you haven't already, there's an invitation link down below to the Virtual Strangers Discord, and I'm posting these links on there right now. So you guys can check out some of the cutting room floor, so to speak, when it comes to the best of Viveport.
Looper says, hold on there, Pilgrim. I added that part. Check out MetaQuest permanent catalog or plus permanent catalog before saying that. It has Red Matter, Demio, Walkabout, and many more.
Well, I'm sure it has a lot of great games on it. But first of all, you just saw us read through the first 5 pages of this, right? Like, there's more. There's 1,000 games on Viveport right now.
Right.
And they're PC games. They're not standalone games. So there's that too.
And it's not meta trash. Sorry. And
one
more zing
probably
in there.
Poor Ruth is like, no trash, man.
No trash.
So I'm gonna post
Ruuts.
these. I'm gonna post these in laughs because I think that's where they belong.
Okay, that works. I think that I agree with that. But yeah, definitely a good deal. Any way you look at it, even if you check out the 2 weeks free thing.
Yeah,
right?
I was actually I don't remember who it was. I was talking about maybe giving somebody MetaQuest Plus as a gift because they had a special going on or something. I forget where I saw it at, but it was like if you buy the annual subscription, which is $60 to MetaQuest Plus, they give you a $25 store credit back right now. So literally, you're getting a year of MetaQuest Plus, which is 2 new games a month added to your library, for what basically amounts to $35.
Yeah, that's a good
pretty
deal.
damn good deal too.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, I think that's our show, ladies and gents. I'd like to thank you all for staying up late and talking some VR and laughing with us a little bit. Hopefully you all liked the best of Viveport episode. We don't always do Viveport. Sometimes we do Steam. We can even do PSVR. Yeah, I think it would be kind of hard for us to do PSVR 2 at this point. We could probably get a few funny ones on there, but the catalog for PSVR 2 is so young that everyone already knows what the funny ones are on there, right? But we could definitely go back to the PSVR 1 catalog and pick some funny ones off of there. So
Steam
if you all like
Steam is good too, right?
Oh, Steam
like
is
you
the
said,
best.
That's
Yeah.
gold.
Steam-
That's even better.
Remember the
There's
presidential
there's
dildos?
10,000.
That was the best.
Here's the thing though, the Steam store is not structured like it used to be. Can you guys just pull up the endless fucking wasteland in Steam anymore? I don't know how to access it anymore.
No, it wants to categorize everything into small chunks, and it's
And it won't let you see them all either. Like it's like you can't just browse everything.
What
you know?
happened? Like, remember we said this about PlayStation a year or 2 ago, and we're like,
Yeah.
their store suddenly sucked. We're like, why would you do that? Now Steam's doing this. Almost like it's like, yeah, I dare you to find a game. We just want you to find the new shit. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's annoying. I probably would have done Steam tonight if it weren't for that. Like they made it difficult to browse their
found a perfect thing for AI to do. Find my
there
games,
you go.
bitch.
Hey, we could probably come up with some pretty unique ideas of how to integrate AI into some future segments. Do you guys like the comedy? Let us know in the comments down below if you like these types of segments that aren't exactly VR news. They're VR related, but they're more meant for us to kind of hang out and laugh a little bit rather than kind of do the usual stuff that we're doing here.
I like it. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, it makes me. I had fun.
You're right.
So
No, I mean seriously, I laughed harder tonight than I have in a while. It's just fun doing these things. Literally.
Well, you know, you shoot the difficulty.
yeah,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to shoot the difficulty?
yeah.
Who doesn't love when the game gets easier as you go and not harder? Like I want it to be.
You
By the
know,
time I'm done, I barely want to have any challenge at all.
you know who hates it when you have difficulty shooting?
My mom!
Or when it's not harder at the end.
My mom!
Yeah, she gets pissed.
Oh, it's her.
Yes, she
It's her special day today.
Typical Kiwi says I like it, and JPEG says give us a dad joke. I don't know if we have any dad jokes.
Yeah, that's a Miles Dyer thing. That's not my thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Although I've tried it dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah, no, you throw in your stuff, your trivia or your things, your obscure jokes that only a few people will get because they're on your So
Yeah, I'm a very good joke thief. Like I steal people's bits all the time, but it's typically stuff that most people don't recognize, so it works out.
yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Agreed.
Anyways, if you like this sort of thing, you should have already subscribed. What are you doing? Why haven't you subscribed yet? It really hurts my heart and my feelings and my left foot. So if you haven't already, please click the button that used to be red. I don't know if it still is or not, but it says subscribe on it. Click that, ring the bell so that you can be notified next time that we go live, which isn't going to be long, friends. We're going live this Monday afternoon. Ruuts, we're going to get back to the normal format and talk some VR news this week, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a while. It'll be good.
It's been a while since we talked VR news.
Sorry, I heard singing. I had to bring Radio Run out.
Who doesn't?
McCarn Artist says, jumping back in the Crashland tonight after the show. You know, I might too.
I might too. Like
it is Saturday. Like we don't have to get up
early.
early tomorrow, Eric.
That's true.
How far have you
very
made
true.
it, Eric?
I
What's your
think
furthest
I'm
level?
fifth or sixth world. I think I'm level 15.
Okay.
JPEG Q says Virtual Strangers Monday at 3 p.m. It depends on what time zone you're in. 3 p.m. Ruuts time. I think that's when we go live, right?
Yep. 3
Colorado
p.m.,
time?
5 p.m. Eastern, but 3 p.m. Colorado time.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern, or between 5 and 5:30, I should say, to be honest and fair about it. If you're in Pacific time, then that would be 2 p.m. for you.
2:30, somewhere in there.
2 to 2:30. Yeah, that's right. On Monday. Yeah, so if you're already subscribed, you want to do something extra, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month. That's all we ask, just $3. Not buzzins and buzzins of dollars, but $3. And you get cool stuff. You get our weekly show notes. You get insider updates. You get exclusive content. By the way, I recorded 3 levels of Crashland tonight. If I can figure out a way to get it off my fucking headset, I'm going to put that up on Patreon for
cool.
everyone to see and enjoy. So yeah, show notes, insider updates, exclusive content. You get your name in the ticker at the end of the show. You get our eternal gratitude. You get to sleep well at night knowing that you did the right thing. All of this for less than $1 per week. There's your best deal in VR, ladies and gentlemen. It's the
Yep.
Virtual Strangers.
Absolutely. But what if you don't have much money? How can you still support the channel and be a part of the
Well, you can sell your house. You can sell your
give us a
car.
get? Yeah.
No, seriously though, we get it. Times are tough. Fucking gas is $4 a gallon, even here. Gallon of milk isn't much cheaper than that. So we get it. Not very many people have the excessive income to be able to donate to entertainment. So that's why the Virtual Strangers Discord is free, and the entertainment just keeps on coming there. We've got a channel for music. We've got a channel for laughs. We've got a channel even for cartoons that I forget to post in most of the time. But my idea with the cartoons channel is to try to put one up every Saturday, because that was our ritual growing up. Richie, you remember when you were a kid how much you look forward to the Saturday morning cartoons?
Oh yeah, it was the best. But now you have
Those are the
cartoons
best.
all the time, 24/7. It's not special.
Yeah, I know, right? But I want to make it special again. I want to make cartoons great again, and that's why I posted a cartoon on there this morning, Saturday morning. And I'm going to try to remember to do that. Anyway, we've got a hardware channel. We've got mods channels. We've
Police
even
chases.
got police chases. Thank you, Ruuts.
Yeah.
That we watch live in real time often. Probably one of the more active channels on our Discord is the police chase channel.
Yep.
We got a channel for flat games. We got many VR related channels. All of that and more. Anything except politics and religion we're talking about on there in a relaxed. It's not thousands and thousands of people. It's hundreds and hundreds. And when you talk about core user groups, there's probably about 100 to 200 people in there. A very small, friendly family atmosphere, and we invite you all to come and join us and become part of the family. So please do subscribe. That's free. Come to the Discord. That's free, and we'll all live happily ever after.
Yep. Hopefully. Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead, Ruuts.
I was just say I have to throw that in there because the governments of the world have their say too on our happiness. So.
Oh yeah, of course. You can only have so much of it. Like too much happiness actually warms the globe. Did you know that?
I think so. Yeah, I better cool it off a little bit.
I've heard that.
Better cool it. Mickey Barrios still doing Mickey Barrios shit, dropping a key for Broken Edge at the buzzer. Grab that shit up. That's a solid game right there. Anyway, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts and Eric, I'm Wes. We will see you Monday. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
See you later.
Bye.